Well, good, pardon me. Well, good morning, everybody. Just going to get things rolling here for the Dave's Gone By spectacular Facebookio program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, clearing my throat, having my coffee, and getting the music ready to begin the festivities. Don't miss them. That's the preamble. The phlegm is the preamble. Oh, I already have a hey, Tony. Thank you for the thumbs up. I'm sure you're going to love our weekly music.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the Daverhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Did your med kick in yet?
You got David Lefkowitz. He's a Long Island Press guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome on this Saturday morning, February 9th, 2019, to the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream. Tony says, morning from New York City. Well, morning back at you, Tony, from Long Island, because that's where I am and have been the last couple of weeks and will be for a few more weeks as well. Welcome to Tony and Roger and Lawrence and David. Oh my God, David from my high school. Welcome. And Mary and hopefully a lot of other folks who are tuning in live on this second Saturday of February 2019 with me, Dave Lefkowitz, doing the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream, which I now realize is just slightly off-center. That's better. There we go. Oh, we have a new sound machine. Check it out. We broke the budget on this thing. This was, how much was this, dear?
I can't say.
Well,
It came from a 99-cent store, let's just say that.
Or, well, since everything we get for the show's tax deductible, let's just say this was
$3 million.
$3,800, yes.
Yeah.
For the quality
And you gotta bang it hard.
of xylophone, that's what she said. Here we go, the quality of xylophoning we've got here. Listen to the tone, right?
You, huh?
I'm like Lionel Spampton.
Did you get that at the music sale at UNC?
Well, we're not at UNC. We just got wished good morning from New York by somebody who thinks that we're 2,000 miles away in Colorado, but no, we're about 15 miles away from Manhattan. By the way, I'm Dave Lefkowitz. That's my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, who is saying howdy on the program. We've got Rabbi Saul. Actually, I don't think Rabbi Saul's going to be on the show today.
Okay.
So you're having a joyous morning. Joyce is not a big fan of Rabbi Saul. And welcome to Fred of Friendy and Paula.
How do you know it's Fred? It could be Wendy.
Oh, that's true.
You assume it's Fred. It could be Wendy.
Well, it could be both of them.
Yeah.
If he's playing us on the computer, which we are
Did you
at.
thank them for their potato-based card for your birthday? You never did.
Oh, I know. Fred was kind enough, and Wendy, to send me a birthday card a couple of weeks ago when it was my birthday, back on January 23rd. It was a beautiful, adorable card about potatoes.
I'm being spectacular birthday.
But yeah, I forget where
No, that's your dad's card.
I put them somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure where.
Some of them were it's like living in a studio.
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, this is actual New York living, because for the past couple of weeks and the next few weeks, where I'm back in the room in which I grew up
Why don't we
since my teens, yes.
keep these presents here?
This is a memory of Colorado, of course. So I can put this on, ta-da, and I can have our C-Dot t-shirt. But it's a little weird. I mean, it's a little close quarters. I'm living with my parents again, and my wife and my dog, who's asleep over there on the on our mattress. So it's a little bit close quarters. We're
265,000.
we're watching a Father Brown episode of people taking strychnine last night, and I was thinking, I could use a bottle of that just about right now.
Tell them how I made you drop the computer on your lip.
No, let's not talk about that. But anywho, what else do I want? So here's what's going to be on the program. Here is what we're doing on Dave's Gone By
Give the dog
today.
his heart card?
Yes, yeah, I gave it to him 2 days ago. Joyce is asking.
The strychnine?
That's right. Anywho, Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Even though we're not in Colorado right now, we do 2 segments.
You're going right
that have,
into it?
No, I'm telling people what's going to be on the show. Greeley Crimes and Old Times, which is inspired, but it's more than inspired by. It's basically completely written by the folks at the Greeley Tribune who do a weekly column called Cop Log, which has to do with phone calls that come into the Greeley and Weld County Police Dispatch. Some of them are pretty funny, so we poke fun at them. Where's my Greeley, Colorado newspaper? There it is. Just proving to you that it exists. And they also do a column called Greeley 100 Years Ago, where they take the funniest, most nostalgic, weird things that were in the paper back in 1919 and print those. We talk about that as well. Also, I go inside Broadway for news of the Rialto. I'm back in New York, folks. So I'm seeing theater. I'm talking about theater. Got some theater news to share with you and reviews of a couple of different shows. The Cher Show on Broadway, which amazingly enough is a show about Cher that I will share with you. Yeah. Plus a show I saw on Long Island. Even when I lived here, I did not see much Long Island theater at all because I was so close to New York. If I was going to go to the theater, I was going to go to Manhattan. But there are still a couple of theater companies on Long Island. How are they doing? One of the big ones, arguably, the biggest along maybe with Studio Theater, and then if you go out to the Hamptons, you've got, what the hell is their name? The rather prestigious one. I'm blanking. But Broad Hollow is probably the best known out here. So Broad Hollow is doing a production of an old comedy called The Supporting Cast. Not that old, it's from 1981. But I went to see it out in Elmont. I'm going to let you know how The Supporting Cast was as part of Inside Broadway on Dave's Gone By. By the way, welcome to Peter and Bill and Fred and Paula and Mary and David and all the folks. And so far, only 1 thumbs up. Come on, let's have some thumbs up on this very nice Saturday morning here. We're here from 9 until 11-ish. We're going a little longer. Eastern time. So please tell, if you're from Colorado especially, there are folks who were used to this program going from 9 to noon Mountain Time, which was 11 to 2 Eastern. Since we're in New York, we're making it earlier. We're rolling the time backward. So we're here, but it's only 7 o'clock-ish in Colorado. Wake your folks up. Go to their houses with tin cans and your own, because we have ours here, your own noisy xylophone, and say, hey, play them the wake-up song. Wake up, it's time for Dave's Gone By. No? Joyce is looking at me like, don't ever do that.
Let me hear it again.
Well, I don't know if I can play it exactly the same way.
Play it louder with them bigger.
It's like Coltrane. I have to improv the next one. Wake up, it's time for Dave's Gone By.
Do it like Zabby.
What was that? Oh, God. We're watching, I love public access television. I do.
Who was she taking dancing to?
Sure, no, here's the deal. There's this woman, I didn't know about this because I haven't looked at public access TV in years. So, well, one segment she was showing, I don't know how old her show is, but she was showing a clip that was 12 years old. We're watching public access, God bless it, last night here on Long Island television because we don't get any decent public access where I live in Colorado, which is probably illegal. But we put on the TV, forget what time, like right after Jeopardy last night, 7:30.
Yeah.
And there's a show by this woman named Zabby, who is...
I would call it a spectacular.
Yeah, I would too.
It's more than a show.
She is a lady...
It can't be a show because she's doing it in the control room.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, you can do control from the... This is essentially my control room. I'm doing this from here. But if you get to see her on Friday nights, she is a quite attractive woman of certain years. I would put her solidly in her 50s, but quite cute. And she can dance.
She's got charisma.
She does have charisma. And one thing, here's the one thing.
What?
Doesn't matter how well you dance, how poorly you dance, if you serve it with a smile and you look directly at your partner, it's sexy as hell, right? If you're into yourself and you're dancing,
Go that far.
it's like doing Louis the touchy. You have to
No,
touch,
I
right?
don't think it's anything like that.
So there's this woman, and she has a public access half-hour cable show where
Well, we
she
think
dances for us. She dances for the
Yes.
camera, always looking at the camera, always smiling into the camera, dances fairly sexily. I mean, not like dirty dancing or anything, just like old-fashioned sexy dancing like we were when you're with a partner. But she's alone, and she's actually doing it from the Cablevision studio control room, which is kind of like a narrow
'Cause
hallway
nothing
with
is
equipment.
hotter. It looks like someone's pantry with it looks like she's dancing in her pantry with the control room settings.
Yeah, and every once in a while she'll be doing this
And then she
going
stops,
back and
then
forth.
she stops to fix the controls.
Yeah, and then every once in a while she'll hit a chroma key thing,
Yeah, that's
so you
right.
see her dancing, and then another
With
image of her
herself,
dancing
oh,
behind.
with
Yeah,
herself.
well, like a palimpsest of
Yeah.
one behind the other, and so you can just see her like doing the
Yeah.
chroma key down,
Then she
and then
can't
it's back
find
there.
it and she fixes it again, yeah.
And then at one point she played a video
With the
from
balls
a
and
jazz
stuff.
festival with this guy named Sam Taylor, I think his
Oh,
name,
yeah.
or might have been a
Yeah.
blues festival.
From like 1902.
Yeah, well, from 12 years ago, and then she's got the superimposition of her dancing in this studio control room while Sam Taylor is singing his blues song. It's public access, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the, and then don't forget
What?
the last 5 minutes. So she gives everybody a reason to watch, right? She plays cool blues music.
Yeah.
She does some sexy dancing. She's cute,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then she's got everybody's interested. She's got all the men watching.
Oh God.
And then she puts up information about how Cablevision is so terrible and how our tax rates on Long Island are terribly unfair. That's sort of a spoonful of medicine after 24 minutes of sugar. It's
that's her political irony.
it's a political left-wing protest show
Yeah.
following 25, which is fantastic. It's brilliant. It's like
The dancing.
better than Glendora ever could have been. If does anybody remember Glendora? By the way, who's still alive, apparently, and still occasionally broadcasting, yay. This is, save this, because we have the story about this. We're going to save this
good,
here.
okay, good.
This is very important.
Okay.
It's going to be such an amazing show. But anyway, so that's we saw Zabby last night, not in person, but on our cable system. If you're here on Long Island, you can watch her on Cablevision. And I only wish we had decent, because we have government access in Greeley, so you can watch the town hall meetings with the mayor, and they have a local TV show about all the arts and events that are going on in Greeley, Colorado. But we don't have a public access, which I think is a legal right of everybody to have. So Joyce is whining, oh, my special toilet toy. Look, Joyce found all these delightful things from my...
I'm trying to give you props for your show.
Yeah. I would like to say that these are from my youth, but no, I was in my 40s
Oh,
when I
remember
got
this?
this.
You got me this one, the feeding pigs.
Because you were into pigs for a
Yes.
while. You really love pigs.
That's really cute.
So this is a little toy with piggies nursing off their mom.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, Peppa never looked like this. I'm sorry about the shadow that's being cast there. That's better. So that's a cute little one right in the middle.
You know, okay, so I say, get a new idea.
Wait. Hold on. I have an idea. Lower. There we go. Remember, was it? It was on the Addams Family. It was brilliant.
Yes,
the guy
it
would
was
put a
in his
light bulb in
mouth.
his mouth and it would light up. Was it
It was
Fester? It was Fester, yeah. Anywho, we are festering here on Dave's Gone By with our 684th episode of the program. We're calling it, what the hell are we calling it? What did I call it? Oh, of course, durr.
What do you call it?
We're calling it All Heart, ba-boom, ba-boom. Because, of course, February 14th is Valentine's Day. Ordinarily, back for the last 16 years, I would play a Saturday segue of songs about love. Either love songs or anti-love songs. But I'm giving up on the music, folks.
Well, oh yeah.
Because every time I start playing music towards the end of the show,
Well, why don't you just play it on your xylophone?
I can do that.
Yeah.
I could play a medley.
Why don't you sing "What Is Love, Baby Don't Hurt Me" on that?
Who does that? I don't
What
know.
is love?
Sing
Baby,
it.
don't
Get
hurt
close to the
me.
mic and do it.
Don't hurt me no more. There you go.
Why don't you get on camera? You
No.
look really cute.
Mm-mm.
You sure?
I have lint issues.
Joyce, I accidentally washed one of her items with a towel load. So can you see the lint on it accidentally there? Yeah, all my fault.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh well. But unfortunately, if you go back to the archives of Dave's Gone By at davesgoneby.com, you can listen to shows where we had a third of the show was music. I play full songs. It was wonderful. And then over the past year or two, I've been playing excerpts of songs, like half a minute. Yeah.
Do what Zabby did at the end of your show. Just have a thing about YouTube, and they co-op the rights, but they're giving
they have
artists
the
money.
rights.
So you can't
but
complain. It's fair.
So I've been trying to do fair use of playing 25 seconds of a song or 30 seconds of a song so that I can play it, pot it down before Facebook says, oh, you're stealing somebody's music there.
Can you hold this picture up and say, fight the real enemy?
Hold on, I will. All right. Joyce wants me to, Joyce just has this thing about Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's just, I don't know why she hates him, but she does. I have nothing against the man. I've not seen Hamilton. I'm sure it's brilliant. I've listened to the cast album. I liked In the Heights. But Joyce just sees him as, is it the Antichrist? Whom do you see him as?
I see him as well, I can't make the reference because it's a personal friend of yours.
No.
But as somebody I don't care for.
Okay. I don't care. You see him sort of as a poseur, as someone who makes believe that he's humble, but he's really not. Look, if I were making $1 million a week on a Broadway show, I would make believe I was humble and secretly feel like I was the greatest piece of anything ever invented by anybody.
I hate it.
Oh, well. Anywho. Nothing against you, Lin-Manuel. If you ever want to come on the show, please, by all means.
Only if I get to take my Spurtle and whack him.
If you ever want to cast me in Hamilton as Ben Franklin, I could sort of do it. Oh, look, a kite!
You know who you could be?
Who could I be?
Who do you look like historically?
You
could be Abraham Lincolnowitz.
I don't look like Abraham.
I think Abraham Lincoln was Jewish, so you could do that.
What is this one to say Abraham Lincoln Jewish?
Oh, he makes Hamilton all this stuff, so why not do it to Lincoln?
He wakes up and, oh, what a night. I freed the what? Old joke. Comedy.
Too soon.
Comedy. Too soon.
Here, take this.
I could be, who could I be from back then? Benjamin Disraeli, I could do, maybe?
You could do a good Tolstoy. I mean, a good Marx. You'd be a good Karl Marx.
I could do Lenin. Oh, no, I look more like Lenin.
Stalin, yeah.
I look like Stalin. I look like Lenin. Because of the long head and the thing.
Yes.
Just make me even more bold than I am.
Yes, and we could put you in gold, like cover you in gold, and you could walk around the set like singing Das Vidania.
Speaking of bold.
Yeah.
What about that Attorney General guy?
Oh,
is it Whitaker? I forget his name. I've never. The man looks
David,
like a bouncer at a strip club.
David, I do not recall. I may have seen that, but I do not recall. I don't know. I have to read over my notes to see if I've seen that.
You know, if I had a good lawyer, I would answer every question like that. That's why Trump needs to dump Rudy Giuliani, who actually says stuff.
Like gag him,
and you get a lawyer who says, "I don't remember.
I don't know.
Maybe not true. It was so long ago. I'm not sure." Yeah. You know, get Brett Kavanaugh's lawyer. But anyway, I look at this guy, and he's like every jock bully that everyone ever had. No, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying we shouldn't vote him in or be against him. I'm just saying, like, I look at that, and it's everything I wasn't in high school. You know, and in junior high school, he's like, okay, quarterback, football.
How do you know that?
Look at him. He's like Moose in the Archie comics. Aww. I swear to gosh, Anywho, I'm not Moose. I'm Dave. And by the way, welcome to Mary and Jay, our friend of the Daverhood, Jay, the actor, and of course, Jolinda, welcome, and Kevin and Michael,
the Aegis Review in the time.
and Peter and Fro. So many other people have signed on. I didn't even notice you coming on.
Give them a happy egg.
Yes. Oh, this gives me an excuse to make egg puns. Look, happy egg. We should save him for Easter, but see, this is exactly the right time for him. Oh, all white. Well, he's not on camera. Gotta hold him closer. There we go. Up. Yeah, he's just a shell of his former self. Get it? Oh. I can get the yolk. Well, carton me. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was gross. See, I'm making a lot of little egg puns here. What the hell else am I going to talk about? I'm trying to let you know what's on the show today. So Greeley Crimes at All Times. Also, Potato News is on.
Popped your coffee that way.
Oh, wait, oops. Mega oops.
Potato News?
Potato News will be part of the show. Inside Broadway. Broadway I mentioned. And this is the most exciting thing because, as I said, I wasn't born in this house. I grew up in an apartment.
You weren't born this way.
I was not born this way.
By transgender life.
Is that the lyric?
I was born this way. Yeah, it's Lady Gaga.
I never asked about transgender people. I never knew the lyrics.
She said, I was born this way.
So Jazz was not born that way. She was,
No, you're born this way. Transgender life, yeah.
You're born what you're supposed to be.
You're born what you want to be, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah. I was certainly not born this way then. I was not born a short, unhappy, bald Jew.
You were actually.
I was born.
You actually were.
No.
Born, I'm sure, unhappy.
I was born looking and sounding like Jeremy Irons. That's the way I was really born. If there's surgery.
You were like a little cranky Jewish baby.
Yeah.
And you probably like to play with your doo-doo.
But a rich, famous, sexy, like actor guy with that Jeremy Irons voice. Bring me to the plastic surgeon.
Why? You don't like pain and you don't like blood. You can't even watch Dr. Pimple Popper.
I know.
How are you going to go through surgery? You're going to look like you were run over by a car.
Maybe they can just flatten me, or they can do that thing with not the procrusting bread.
If you wanted to be taller, you should have had growth hormone.
Would that have worked?
Yes.
Did they have that back then? Really?
Yes. They would have shot you up. You would have been like 5'10".
Well, I tried to make a hormone, but I pulled her hair and she screamed. Ow, 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 ow. Anywho. What else are we doing?
You know where that belongs?
Yeah. In Flushing. Another New York joke. So I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Brooklyn, but moved here when I was 12 years old, so all our stuff moved with me, including the books I grew up with when I was a youngin'.
Oh, God.
So on StoryTime today, and yes, we will be doing StoryTime, we have this. We have a book that my dad did for me, and they probably still do this, but this was a thing back in the day when they could take a book for children and literally personalize it for the child.
The story is a personal story by the magic computer.
Yeah.
You know when the magic computer writes a story.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it is. It uses its wang. But, look, read about Me and the Bee. Your personal story by the magic computer.
And you're afraid of bees, too.
Oh, I was terrified of bees. I still am. I'm almost phobic about bees, wasps, and hornets, and gunshots in theaters, and what else am I? What was I borderline phobic?
Mr. Monk.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not to that level. But I think those are the things. Stingy things and loud, unexpected noises. Mm-hmm. I think that's about it. Yeah. Or big, large, bald guys who would bully me in high school. But anyway,
I want to grow a mustache.
Well, get old enough in Italian and you will. Well, you're Austrian. You're not Italian.
No, I'm German, French. Do I have any Italian in me? No.
Of course you do. You're Tyrolean. You're Northern Italian from Austria.
23 and me. You got to do yours. When you do yours, we can show the results on your show.
Well, we'll do 123. I will. And you did yours.
Mommy and Daddy and you.
Yeah. But here's the book. Me and the Bee. We'll be reading this later. Personalized for me back when I was living in Brooklyn on Ocean Parkway. And it's wonderful because it is done by quote-unquote computer, and
magic.
Yet it looks like typewriter. It looks like they had to take every page, roll it into a typewriter, type in the words, and then pull it out and bind it into a book, which I guess they didn't. They just have dot matrix printers that looked like typewriters back then. But read about Me and the Bee. We'll be going through this. This will be great fun.
Well, I'm concerned.
And what else? And our Colorado Limerick of the Damned for Estes. Estes is the place.
Estes Park.
Yeah, which we went to, I think, twice or two.
I went there a couple times.
Yeah. So all of that on Dave's Gone By today, February 9th, 2019. So before we get to all of that, do we want to talk about
we got this in Salt Lake.
What, the piggy thing?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. We went to I'll bet we went to the critics thing in Utah and got the piggy thing.
Wow.
Well, I just want to bitch about the Long Island Railroad a little bit more before we start the actual thing of the show, because last week I was livid at the LIRR, which, I moved away from here for about 9.5 years, was living in Colorado, didn't think much about the LIRR except when I came to New York to visit. And that was for a couple of days, and it was fine. Go back and forth, back and forth. I'd forgotten just what a misery the Long Island Railroad can be. So last week, I was supposed to see King freaking Kong on Broadway, and I get to Jamaica Station, And they make the announcement, no trains heading from Jamaica to New York. They're all suspended, canceled, pending further notice. So 5 minutes later, I literally go up the stairs, down the stairs, and take the train back home, costing me an hour or so out of my life and about $9 off peak round trip. Fine. And then this week, not so bad. This week, I get where I want to go. I go to the railroad, but first of all, they're thinking about raising prices 30%.
Well, they're fixing the trains with tape, so they need some money.
No, there was a story in Newsday
Packing tape.
about how when there are tears and rends and rips in the fabric of the seats, and they're essentially plasticky seats to begin with, or vinyl, they've been using, and I've seen this, I used to see this years ago, they would take tape until they could replace it, and it would be a long time before they replace it. You just see tape fixing the seats. And the rail said, well, we don't use tape. And what they use, I guess, is something that looks like tape, but is stronger than tape. So it isn't the gray masking tape. Oh, no, I made myself a coffee. Thank you. It looks like tape. It smells like tape. It feels like tape, but it's not really tape.
It's special train tape.
Well, I mean, it should be. I mean, it's got to deal with
I'm
people.
sorry if you have a train falling apart, taken out of commission.
But can you imagine raising LIRR fares 30% alongside fees for cabs and
they want to raise the Metro card.
So I'm sure they'll raise that to $3. Yeah. That's coming. And of course the Uber and the Lyft and the yellow cab fees going way up to subsidize.
Honey, do you need your therapy crocodile? Hold on here.
But okay, fine.
Hold your therapy crocodile. Hold your therapy crocodile. Tell them what that is. Joyce
got this for me this week. This is also this and this.
Yeah, but that's
will have to do with
that's your therapy crocodile.
Yeah. Did we talk about that last week on the air or not yet? Because I have this story here to talk about during really questionable times. Oh, we will. Yeah. Save this.
If you feel stressed, just pet them.
I will. So I'm coming back from a show on and it was on some level New York works. Yeah. Like I'm running from a show that's on the east side of 15th Street, trying to make a train at 9:15 at Penn Station. And I'm like, it's just far enough from the subway, and I have to take 2 subways to get, I won't make it.
No.
And I'm trying to make a train and not a train an hour later. So hell with it, I'll take a cab. And the driver, I gotta say, he's one of these old style New York cab drivers. If he could dart in front of something in 2 seconds, he would do it and then dart back. I mean, he literally, Paul Newman on the racetrack had nothing on this guy.
People live for it. They live for it because they figure, I don't own the cab, and I'm gonna just be aggressive driver. Yeah.
So he gets me there with 2 minutes to spare. I was like, wasn't cheap, but he got me there.
Yeah.
And run down the thing. 9:15 at night. We're not talking about 5:30
like
rush hour, 7:30 tail end of rush hour. Yeah. We're talking about 9:15 at night on a train to Ronkonkoma, where you change it. No shit, we're literally crushed in like, I wouldn't say like Japanese trains, but we can barely jump. I'm like pushing my way on. Because
when I was on rush hour, there was old people standing in the aisle, people with children. It was like I felt like we were coming to Ellis Island. It was horrible. Yeah. It was terrible.
And this I don't know if he was drunk, but this I don't want to say it was a big guy, but this taller sort of assholey guy. I'm standing. I get on the train. I push my way. Doors are closing in about half a minute.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of standing there. I'm looking one way and I'm looking the other, and I realize that people are all jammed up where the doors are. So you've got the main vestibule, and there's room down the sides of the road.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, to me, he's like, you're standing there, you're moving. And I wanted to say, asshole. Yeah. If I could, and I think I said, if I could move, I would. Good luck.
Yeah.
But then I just pushed my way further, and I went down the aisle. And I just pushed out. I was like, why are people standing in the middle, herded like sardines, when you can go down the length of the aisle?
Because maybe it's easier to stand that way. That's what I'm thinking.
No, you can hold on to somebody's seat.
Yeah, but you don't.
It's actually more difficult to stand that way and keep your balance.
I guess.
So we're all packed in for the first leg of the journey. I jump off at Jamaica, and of course it's a 12-car train.
Yeah.
and only 10 cars platformage. And I mean, I remember this from a decade ago.
But they only tell you like I
Yeah.
was with, so they told me the same thing on a station I was going to. It's a lady with a cane who weighs about 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And she's like, we have to move. And then the guy's like, for your stop, you have to move up a car. I cannot, and I'm strong, I go to the gym. I cannot open the door with the lady standing there. So I'm trying to pull the door. I see the conductor. I'm like, this one's on you, buddy. You got to open it.
Good for you.
Because and I'm like, there's a lady with the cane. I can't get through. And he had to pull the door.
Yeah.
Then the lady with the cane hobbles as fast as she can so she doesn't miss her stop. She's hobbling. I'm hobbling behind her. And we made it.
It
was terrible.
Remember last week you told me the story of they changed tracks and people didn't make their train?
Again, Ellis Island. We have all these people, people like old people, babies, people in all sorts of transportation. They go from track 5 to 8. You have to go up and over. And I just run in because I run. I'm like, I'm not missing my train. So I run, get in the train, ding, 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 the doors close. People are running at the platform, yelling, and the train takes off.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I even have to say that, I can still, I'm 55 years old, but I'm out of shape, but I'm still in fairly decent shape when I need to be. And I get on the Far Rockaway train, and wouldn't you know, there's enough people who are running with me onto the Far Rockaway train that there's no seats yet. I mean, if there really are, if people want to sit in the middle, but nobody wants to sit in the middle.
I'd sit in the middle.
I hate sitting in the middle. So, but it wasn't until like Laurelton that I got a chair.
I didn't pay though that one trip when it was so crowded.
Well, here's the deal. That's the one thing where the Long Island Railroad screws itself.
Yes.
Because in the train going from New York to Jamaica, conductor can't get through. They don't take your tickets.
Yeah, the whole trip. What happened was the conductor was so funny. He said, stand aside, and nobody moved. So the aisle is full of people. The conductor needs to get through it, I guess, to do a door thing or something. They wouldn't let him through.
Good.
I was like, whoa. And these were like, it was bad. Yeah.
So what I did, I always carry these extra things. So instead of paying for the full-length trip from Far Rockaway to Hewlett or Lynbrook, I have one just from Jamaica to Lynbrook. I keep a spare, so I save $1 or $2. If I'm going to stand and be miserable for half of the trip, it's a recompense of some sort, not to have to pay for it.
I think they should do like class. So if you're sitting, you pay more. If you're standing, you pay less.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, like have cars that they did, like they do in some railway systems where there are no seats. You just stand and hold on to the strap or the thing, and then you pay less.
But that's also why I'm a little reticent of buying online tickets, because I don't know if you've already bought it and they don't get you. You've already paid it.
Yeah,
anyway.
no, it's like a monthly, I think. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
So I'd be a little worried about that.
Don't do it.
But anywho.
Plus, you hear them say, you're going to lose the Wi-Fi when we're in the tunnel. Open your tickets now. So it's a cluster. The whole system is in need of repair.
And they can't fix it properly. There's nothing, I don't know what's
Why not?
to be done. But it goes back to what we were talking about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago about the L train in New York.
Now it's all stinky.
I beg your pardon?
They smell like some kind of gas smell, and people were getting sick. Yeah, they shut down from Myrtle to somewhere.
Yeah.
They shut the train,
But I think we have the discussion of,
but it's the
like,
hipsters.
you
The
can
hipsters
shut
want it,
the L train down for 2 years and make everybody horribly miserable, but make it brand new, really top of the line, state of the art, new. Or you can just work sort of on weekends, not inconvenience people except on weekends, so that their lives go on as normal. But then you're still doing that patch and fix, this half-assed kind of, well, we make it a little bit better than it was.
Yeah, a little safer.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have to live where the L train is, so it doesn't affect me. So I can say
they don't care about my people in Queens or Brooklyn. They care about the people, the rich hipsters and all the whites that gentrified the area.
But the only way to fix this New York City subway system for reals is to close down stations for like 2 years or 3. I mean, close down entire miles of track.
I think close down the whole system.
Yeah. Make double-decker trains.
They can't
make
fit
more.
They can't fit it in the tunnel.
Change the. I mean, that's the only way. That is the only way to make a modern system that works.
Look how long it took to get the Second Avenue.
Because they had to just do that subway. Imagine if they could make the whole system over in the manner that they want to, instead of working piecemeal. It's a thought. Anyway, welcome, by the way, to Jolinda and Frank and Rick and Bruce and Leaf. And
I
all the
like
folks
that
who are
name.
tuning in. Yeah,
Lether. Can we call
Sunshine
Lether?
on Leaf.
Lether.
Leaf. We're doing Dave's Gone By here on this Saturday,
It should
February
be
9th.
Dave goes off.
That was Dave's Goes Off on the Long Island Railroad. I used to do that all the time. And I guess I'm still doing it now that we're back here. But let's take a breath.
Hold your
Get the hell out of
Hold
Manhattan.
your therapy crocodile.
My therapy crocodiles, yes. Because this can come in handy now
Yeah, but
as
they're
we
your
do our
therapy
next segment.
crocodiles.
Well, but I'm even going to be talking about that
Whoa.
on Dave's Gone By because our next segment is called Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Da-da-da-da. 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 Yes, indeed. So it's crimes, it's criminals, but it's also nostalgia because there's a column, a column in the Greeley Tribune newspaper, which is where we've been from for the past couple of years, that has to do with, let me just make sure I have everything there. It's kind of, everything's sort of out of order, of course. Hold on.
Minnie, why
That's
do you have a
that.
pickle?
What the heck is Greeley Crimes and Old Times? Forgive me. 1 second. I got to deal with where's
Play
each
your
one of
pickle
them?
kazoo here. Play the pickle kazoo.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't. I'm missing a page. No, I shouldn't be. How is this possible?
What?
Oh, here it is. I see. It didn't quite, the margins on what I was printing didn't quite come through the way they should have, but it's fine. Here we go. Are you ready for Greeley Crimes and Old Times? This is a mashup, if you will, of two columns in the Greeley Tribune. One of calls that come into the Greeley Police Department dispatch.
You got from India.
Yes. And another column that has to do with stories that were in the newspaper back in Greeley, Colorado in 1919, 100 years ago. So,
Yay.
are you ready?
Who sends it to you, Mike? P.P. Peters?
Well, I get it from the paper, but Mike Peters does the 100 years ago.
Is it on the electronic times? Electronic way?
I guess it is.
How do you get it electronically?
Yeah, well, on GreeleyTribune.com. Yeah.
Okay, good. Very good.
Police responded.
Wait, give me the sound phone. I need.
Oh, you need that, and we have the other noisemaker
I don't
behind
want
you.
that one. I want
You
this
want? Oh,
one.
you don't want that one.
Where's the link? This one.
It's right there. Ready?
Okay.
Police. Sounds like a Sexton Ming song. Police responded to a Greeley home for a report of two malnourished children. Police couldn't find any evidence of any wrongdoing. Upon further investigation, officers learned that a 14-year-old boy made the report because he was mad at his mother for taking away his vape pen. I don't know if that story sucks or it blows, but would you be mad at your mom if she took away your vape pen?
I would not even take. I would never take a vape pen.
You,
I think
oh,
it's
you would,
ridiculous.
You would
It's
buy
so
your own.
awful.
Yeah,
no, why would you have a vape pen? A 14-year-old should not have a vape pen.
Yeah,
A
that's the point.
14-year-old is. You can't. When can you legally smoke?
Probably
18?
6. Well, is it the same age as
I'd vote.
gonna be?
I don't know.
Smoking would be 18, I believe.
I think it's 18 or 21. I don't think you
21
can.
for alky.
How can you vape pen at 14?
I don't know. Well, if you want to get started on meth, you can't just jump
Yeah,
in.
that's true.
You need the gateway vaping.
I mean, I guess it's better than the ganja, but still.
Maybe. Greeley police responded
Wait.
to a report, and you know this is out west. You know this is Greeley, Colorado country, because the police responded to a report of a man emptying a Mountain Dew bottle into the gas tank of his ex-wife's car.
Uh-oh, that's bad.
Well, yeah.
That will prevent the car from working.
Yeah, they won't just do it. I guess
That's
not.
horrible.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing.
Now, you know, the groundhog came out of his hole.
Oh, that's for Graham.
Graham the shout out to Graham the groundhog from our friends, friendly there.
Do for Graham the groundhog.
And
That's the
punks
high
on-
pitch only he can hear.
Oh, I see. Hey, Graham. Okay. He came out of
I'm
his
enjoying
hole.
that.
I know you are. He came out of his hole on Groundhog
That's
Day
personal.
did not see his shadow.
I thought he did. You told me he
No,
did.
no. In fact, this year, the 3 groundhogs that were local, Punxsutawney Phil, the local one in Long Island, and I think the New York City one, neither of them saw the shadow, which means that winter is 6 weeks or less and not longer.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's good news, except that they tend to be wrong. But
Right.
but 100 years ago, same thing. The groundhog didn't see his shadow. That is, if he came out at the right time. The day was partly cloudy and partly sunny. So he might have seen his shadow and dove back into the hole for 6 more weeks of winter. Or he might not. We'll have to wait and see what winter does. So this is what they were writing about 100 years ago. The most ambivalent, prevaricated story in the whole history.
It's what I tell the students. If you write you don't take a firm answer, you fail.
Yeah, check. Listen to the writing on this. It was partly cloudy, partly sunny, so he might have seen a shadow,
We don't know.
or he might not. We'll have to wait and see what the way. This has to be a politician writing this. It's like if Captain Obvious met general equivocation. That's a little joke I wrote there. Didn't work. Okay. Now, hun, this is going to be very important to us
This
right
could be
now.
police. Look.
Oh, there you go. Still sounds like the Mr. Rogers trolley a little bit, but yeah. Okay, now we're going to have, ooh, sorry about that. We're going to have this, oink, oink, because
What?
the Northern Bank and Trust Pig Club
Oh, nice.
is getting organized.
That's nice. The
Any
pig club.
boy and girl between the ages of 10 and 20 in the city or in the country may join and become the
pig?
owner of a pig. Parents must approve.
What?
Can you imagine
Well,
back then you could just sort of own a pig?
I would prefer my child owns a pig and uses a vape pen. I would tell him instead of a vape pen, I'm going to make you join the pig club.
But what if the child is artistically inclined, wants to do theater? What can they do then? Hamilton. Well, Lin-Manuel Miranda joke there. So you got to watch the whole show to sort of get the
Look how my flabbies are. My arms are flabby here.
Joyce is showing me the flab under her arms, of which you have very little.
Is it flabby?
No, it's not terribly. I'm gonna feel my wife's underarm skin here. Ooh. Hold on 10 minutes. Or actually, I'm 55 years old. Hold on 7 minutes. But police responded to Sanborn Park. Where's the siren?
I forgot.
There we go. Police responded to Sanborn Park for a report of a man urinating in public.
Listen.
Oh, he's tinkling. Literally, he's tinkling, ladies and gentlemen. This is the sound of a man urinating in public in Sanborn Park in Greeley. The caller told police when he confronted the man flashed him and his son.
God.
Well, if you confront a man who's in the middle of peeing.
Why would the officer have his son with him?
Oh, no. There's a caller told police, hey, there's a guy, he's peeing. So he's like,
why would you confront somebody?
Exactly, in the middle of that.
I would not confront anybody.
Yeah, because the guy turns around and says, what? What
happened?
That's a way to make a splash, I'll tell you.
What happened?
Oh, well, I'm sure the guy was gone by then, unless he had a really full bladder. Imagine, by the time somebody is peeing, you call the police show up. Yeah, the guy's already on a bowel movement somewhere else,
But it is public lewdness.
By the way, welcome to Lana, and Reggie, who says good morning.
Don't call
good morning,
Lana
Reggie.
Lynn, never.
No, Lana. And Jeffrey and Fred. Graham says hi.
Oh, to ask him if Graham saw a shadow, I forget.
Did Graham see his shadow?
And you told us, but we forget.
Have you seen your mother, Graham, standing in the shadow? Let's see. The two, count them two, farm workers passing through Windsor were stopped in their truck and arrested for violating, I'll let you answer the what? What were they violating, dear?
They were carrying booze.
No.
They were trying to go see Hamilton?
No. And they weren't violating each other.
Were they vaping each other?
Not quite. No.
Were
Worse.
they pig dancing?
No.
Violating
But was
speed limit.
No. They were violating, and this is so terrible, the beet pulp law.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
another one.
The beet pulp law.
Wait.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Dun, 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 dun. I can't do it.
It really is like Sexting Me and Billy Childish. Yeah. Anyway, in Windsor, here's the deal. You can haul beet pulp on back roads, but not on Main
Your
Street.
color is the color of beet.
That's
Your
right.
Shirt.
It can't be beat.
You know, you're so rutabaga.
So the workers...
You're so rutabaga.
I get it. I get it. Thank you. We'll get to the root of this eventually.
Should this stand up?
That's what she said. Hold on. Well, you're supposed to put it on a surface, and that'll give you a better tone. Oh, it does. Look at that. There we go. All right. In Windsor, as I say, you can haul beet pulp on back roads, but you can't do it on mail.
Let's tell Katie. She might get in trouble.
For hauling her
With her
beet pulp.
hubby,
Yeah. Now, the workers let the pulp fall out of the truck, which caused travel problems
Oh,
on
yeah.
Main Street.
It must be messy.
They were fined $2.50.
But
Yeah.
you can make a nice beet salad with the goat cheese beet salad.
There you
That'd
go.
be great, yeah.
Well, here's the deal. I say, not only couldn't they beat the rap, but they didn't rap the beats. Ha ha!
Take this one.
Okay. Hey, you know what? You know what song this is? I don't know, but it's by the Beatles. Anywho, oh, by the way, oh my goodness. Fred says, Graham says hi. He said that Graham saw his shadow,
Yeah.
so it's going to be cold. And he says it's -8 in Greeley today.
Oh my God.
Finally, there's worse weather where we came from than in New York.
Whoa.
And by the way, welcome to Tony. Tony's seems to be a new viewer. Welcome to you, Tony.
Tony,
And thanks for
is it
tuning
my
into the
Tony?
Daverhood.
No.
No, different Tony.
Hey,
As I
Tony.
said, as a new viewer, someone I've
It's a
never
new
seen before.
review.
So let's time for elsewhere. Let's go elsewhere for news outside of Greeley, Colorado, and Windsor, Colorado, because we have a couple of different stories. This is what I've been building towards, ladies and gentlemen.
Brandy sent me a text. I have to look.
Wonderful. Go. Here, though, when Joyce was talking about these special crocodiles for me to keep me happy.
Graham is watching your show. He sent a picture of Graham.
Oh, let's can we show it on anything?
Apparently he's
We
watching.
mentioned Graham, who
He's a
is a
new
special
viewer.
pet of our friends back in Greeley, Colorado. Graham,
I
who
don't think
did
he's a
see his shadow,
Yeah.
and they're having a terrible winter, and they are now finally in Greeley
Look at
because we had a
that.
lovely December. Listen,
Graham, look at Graham. You see? Can you
Wait,
see Graham?
I see me.
But like that's Graham.
There. Oh,
that's
look.
Graham. Where's
Yeah.
Graham? That's Graham.
Yeah. Boy, am I
And
bald.
he's watching your show. Look
Boy,
at that.
am I bald. But Graham is very cute. Look at that.
Look at that. You got a new viewer.
Yay!
Yeah.
And I don't want to go into his sexual history, but I believe he's a furry.
I believe he is a furry. No, I believe he's a real furry. He's not furry. He's just furry as a thing.
True.
I'm
true.
gonna. Can I send him? I'll send this picture.
Yeah, well, later. Let's
Yeah,
let's get through this segment
I
though.
can do both. I'm
Okay.
very talented.
This is not from Greeley, Colorado, and not from New York, but from York Haven, Pennsylvania. A story that was printed in Newsday, since we sometimes go elsewhere on Greeley Crimes and Old Times. A Pennsylvania man
Woo,
says his emotional support alligator helps him deal with his depression.
Oh,
Joey, is it Joey? Yeah.
honey,
Joey
where are yours?
Penny, 65. These are crocodiles, though. I've got emotional support crocodiles. He has an actual, I'm going to show his picture. That is Joey, what's his name? Henny, age 65, and his beloved pet, his support alligator named Wally. Wally Gator there. I kid you not. This is Joyce's emotional support alligator. Oh, yeah.
Here.
He has a tale to tell. Oh. But see, I don't know how this would be emotionally therapeutic because he just gets all wound up. Wound up. A little alligator joke there. Which is one more time. Wind it up one more time. Oh, get on camera. Oh, see, it spins and everything.
Push me.
This is high quality television right here, ladies and gentlemen.
One more
This
time. I
is
gotta get it right.
who needs Zabby dancing on public access? We got this right here. Yeah. Very exciting. Very good. Yeah, beautiful. But this guy, this is for real. This is a real guy with a support alligator.
Show yours.
Showing, I did. That's my crocodiles. Said his registered emotional support animal named Wally likes to snuggle.
Who doesn't?
And give hugs despite being a 5-foot-long alligator.
How can you bring it on the plane? How can
I
you
don't
bring
think
it on
so.
the plane?
I don't know if you can bring it on a
It's
plane.
an
Maybe you can bring it to
emotional
other
support animal.
places.
Like where? How are you going to bring it to like anywhere?
A senior center.
It's going to eat like small animals and raw meat. You can't bring it to sushi.
Well, that's true. The York Haven man said he received approval from his doctor to use Wally as his support animal.
I don't believe that.
After not wanting, no, check this out. After not wanting to go on medication for depression. So he had it with him. It wasn't about getting on a plane.
I don't buy that, David, no.
Why else? Why else would anybody want an alligator?
Because he's insane.
Well, he is. That's why he needs medication for depression. I had Wally.
Depression's not insanity.
No, true. When I came home and was around him, it was all okay.
Oh.
My doctor knew about Wally and figured it works, so why not?
Yeah, why not?
Wally was rescued from outside Orlando at 14 months old. He's still growing. Okay. Henny said Wally could be 16 feet long one day.
Ridiculous. I'm sorry.
He says Wally eats chicken wings, off of live chickens, I'll bet,
I bet.
and shares an indoor plastic pond with a smaller rescue animal, a rescue alligator named Scrappy.
Oh, Scrappy!
Wally, who turns 4 this year, is a big teddy bear, in Henny's words.
But if you don't feed him, he's going to snap at somebody.
Well, no kidding. The cold-blooded reptile likes to rest his snout on Henny and says he likes to give hugs. The alligator has never bitten anyone. Yeah, no, not yet.
Remember
He's only 4.
Did a chimp eat the face off of something?
Yeah, well, that wasn't a chimp. That was I think this woman had a bonobo. Maybe it was a chimp, or she had a big
bonobo.
Oh, like a monkey kind of a thing. Yeah.
That's weird.
He's even afraid of cats. Not for long.
I don't believe that one.
Henny acknowledged that Wally is still a dangerous wild animal and could probably tear his arm off. But he says he's never been afraid of him. Henny's background also indicates a comfort with creatures like Wally. He hosted a show once called Joey Henny's Outdoors on ESPN Outdoors.
I don't believe
From
that.
1989 to 2000. Henny takes Wally out for meet and greets at places like senior centers and minority league baseball games.
I don't believe that.
Wow. No, wow. I said minor league baseball games, not minority league baseball games.
Yes.
Can you imagine, like, back in the 1930s? Like, here's an alligator.
I just find that...
Come on, boy. Why don't you put your arm out here? Anywho, that's going elsewhere. For a man and his emotional support alligator. Wow. Let's do some more emotional support elsewheres on Dave's Gone By before we hit our 10 o'clock hour. Let's do something fun.
Okay.
From outside. Of course I love these. Of course I have to report these. This is from the Weird But True column in the New York Post, and they tend to have fun with these too. Quote, "That's way beyond the call of duty."
Oh, God.
There we go. A flight attendant was forced to wipe a pervy, overweight passenger's rump on a flight from Los Angeles to Taipei, Taiwan. The unidentified EVA aircrew member said she had to remove a wheelchair-bound 440-pound man's pants while he moaned with pleasure.
We don't get that service on our flights.
Oh, we certainly do not.
Maybe we have to pay that $60 upgrade.
That's it.
Why is she taking off a man's
Well,
pants?
here's the deal. The creep threatened to relieve himself in the aisle of the plane.
Yeah, but why is she taking off his pants? She's not an attendant.
Well, he threatened he would do that if she didn't tend to his tush, she said.
I think that's not true.
What else? How can that not be true?
She's just got a fetish.
But, if there's a new way to make money on Frontier, I think this is going to be it.
Why? I don't get it. So why did she took down his pants and wiped his butt?
And wiped his tushy.
Why?
Because he
In
threatened
the
to make
aisle?
duty in the aisle. But the thing is, if he's in a wheelchair and he made he relieved himself in the aisle. What would happen? He just relieved himself on his chair.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, there's got to be more. I
think there's some backstory.
Search more to this story. There is some back end story to this. I'll tell you that. Oh, let's see. Well, we can go sort of back to home in a way to Colorado for this one. Hold your horses, moose. A massive bull moose is terrorizing skiers and snowboarders at a Colorado resort, chasing them down on the way to the slopes. A video shows the animal charging a crowd of people at Breckenridge Ski Resort.
Breckenridge.
Well, moose sometimes get territorial when they feel threatened.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. What is kind of funny, and what happened earlier this week, we don't normally get stories about Greeley or Windsor or Boulder or Fort Collins, Colorado. Yeah, but on AOL and everywhere else it went viral.
Yeah.
And not even like a viral video, but just news. The news went viral that a person in Fort Collins was almost torn to bits by a mountain lion.
David, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So people out here are worried about, like, what is it, MS or the gang MS-13?
Yeah.
We have people in Colorado who can take down a mountain lion.
Yeah, this is the guy was attacked from a lion by a mountain lion from behind. The guy literally crushed the mountain lion's windpipe and killed him.
Yes.
Hey, I mean, he suffered scratches and stuff. But, I mean, think about that. People can't even take down dogs when they're attacked.
Yeah.
This guy kills barehanded.
And then hikes back because he's up in the mountains. You gotta hike back just to,
Yeah. Wow. Unless he was, maybe he wasn't telling the whole truth. He was lying.
Maybe he was from Lyons, you know.
Yeah. Could have been from Lyons, Colorado. By the way, it's only 8 a.m. in Colorado, but it's 10 a.m. right here Eastern time.
So you mean the time matches the temperature in Colorado?
It does, right? But in Long Island, where we are, and New York, it is 10 o'clock. And you're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program podcast of the stream live on this Saturday, February 9th, 2019. It's our 684th episode of the show. We are calling it All Heart in honor of my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, for Valentine's Day, a couple of days from today.
What's my present?
Your present is me, dear. You get to be married to me.
What's my real present?
I got you your favorite tea.
Yeah.
Your Tazo Awake tea.
Caffeinated, it's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want some kind of little cheap trinket jewelry, if you pick it out, I'll get it for you.
I like the facial.
Do you really think I'm going to? I do not want to get thrown off by making a joke about getting a facial, dear. Really don't want to do that. Happy to give one to you. Yeah. Anywho, so you'll get that. Yay. And what else would you want for Valentine's Day?
I don't know. The thing I want, you can't buy. I want health, but I can't buy health.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Can't buy it.
Can't buy me love. Everybody tells me so. Can't probably buy love for $300 an hour to find the right girl. But
that's not love. That's a sexy time.
Yeah, it'll do. Anyway.
Now, do you bring in sexy back? Say it.
Hold on, let me do it proper. I'm bringing sexy back. What? This is the senior version.
Hey, no.
I'm just
do not be ageist. I'm gonna ram that up.
Well, look, I'm half deaf. It would be me. It's like I hear it in another room. I'm bringing sexy back. What? You motherfuckers don't know how to act. What? Take it to the fridge. I'm never even going to the fridge. What are you saying? Anywho, let's do a little bit more Greeley Crimes of All Times and then move on with more of the show.
Okay.
On Dave's Gone By this Saturday morning, where it is. Oh my God, it's 10:03 already.
Wow.
We're rolling, folks. Let's go further. Police responded to 51st Avenue for a report of a woman carrying a sealed Amazon.com box. The caller just thought
my tea.
She might, it could have been a cat. No, the caller thought it was strange.
She thought it was So, I'll tell you. So
yeah.
My friend got that the doorbell, like the ring thing.
Oh.
It makes people cuckoo pants. Like sometimes somebody is a postal worker just dropping off a package.
Of course.
Sometimes if I go to your house and grab a package package. Maybe I'm the neighbor and you asked me to fetch your package. Don't go crazy.
Oh, Billy, I belong to this next door neighborhood thing.
Oh, yeah.
And because I can post the show and let people
sure.
regionally know that the show is happening. But every other post is like, make sure you have the doorbell thing. Make sure, our package was stolen. We saw somebody creeping around looking at our package on the thing. And I know if I'm at the YMCA and somebody's looking at my package,
I'll tell you, so I was telling the trainer I have now, because she was also from another gym.
Yeah.
The guy who was a prior trainer, he's a science fiction writer. He said that people would like blow dry their stuff naked in the gym. Like, you don't want to see that.
No.
No.
But people if in the men's area, people shower.
Yeah, so they do it in the girls' area, but you don't have to show your stuff.
Well, you kind of do. You know what? I am for the blow drying of the parts. Because if you don't do that, you don't know what it is like to shower.
David, that's a community blow dryer. It's not your own.
Ew.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. It's not your own.
They don't bring their own?
No, that's what the problem is.
Ew.
It's like the one at the hotel,
No, it's sort of the equivalent of like why I hate when you go into a men's room and they don't have paper towels to wipe your hands. They've got the blowy things. And then everybody says all that's doing is blowing the germs from everybody's pee and poo into the air onto your hands. So imagine somebody's drying his nads. And it's getting like the nad cells into the air.
Yes.
And it's like, why do my hands smell like somebody else's penis?
No, but
that's
also
because
other people are using that for their hair and whatnot.
Well, hair,
yes.
Man.
That's nasty.
It didn't occur. I thought they were using their own blow dryers.
No, they're not going to. Why would they waste their blow dryer on their own stuff?
It wouldn't occur to me that a gym would have a community blow dryer. I would never think they would. Towels, maybe you can buy or borrow or whatever, but Anywho, by the way, welcome to Tony and Jay, who was on this show a few years ago, and Gina and Sam, who was on this. Wait a minute, Sam, it's Shabbos. How are you watching this show?
Who's Sam?
He was on the program. He's an actor. He started acting later in life, and he's constantly working. He's constantly doing short films.
Maybe he has it set that your show comes up.
Sam has a Facebook Shabbos Goy just for this program, just for Dave's Gone By. He has someone turning on for him because he's allowed to watch. He's just not allowed to touch the computer.
I believe that if somebody did it.
So, Sam, ask your Shabbos Goy how you are breaking the Shabbos by being able to watch this program.
Do not out people.
I'm just saying.
That's rude.
Well, we talked about this on the program.
Who are you to judge?
I know. Who am I to judge? I'm a critic. All I do is judge.
You're doing your show.
All I do is look down on everybody else because I'm a critic, and a performer.
No, that's because you have security issues.
Of course I have security issues. Well, look at the size of my pickle. But, thank you so much.
You took my xylophone. I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's your xylophone.
I can't play
Xylophone. All right, let's do one or two more of these. The thrill is gone. The kitchen division of the First Presbyterian Church. Now, it's not First United Methodist Church. It's the First Presbyterian Church. There's a kitchen division, apparently. It's big enough that they have a whole division making their food and their collation stuff. They will meet at Mrs. Ingalls' home this week at 2 o'clock. Please bring thimbles.
Oh, my God. That's how they did shots. That's how the ladies did shots.
Maybe that's something meaningful in there because it's very symbolic.
Yeah, David, why would
I need a noise for that.
I'm sorry. Okay,
I need a noise for that joke. Thank you. Okay, now make your comment.
Hold on.
Yeah. No, well, what about the kitchen division of the church?
Why would the kitchen division need thimbles? That would be a sewing club.
I don't understand, right?
I think they're using them for shots,
Might make sense. If you were doing a lot of chopping with knives and you put on a thimble on your thumb, it may save the tip of your thumb if you have a little accent.
Those ladies were quilting secretly.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what book they love?
What?
Me and the Bee. Because it's a quilting bee. I should have taken that strychnine last night. Should have just done it. Anywho, police responded to 10th Avenue. Yeah. See, that's got a pretty tone to it now. Yeah. You're getting there. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Police responded to 10th Avenue for a man walking down the middle of the street making whooping sounds.
Oh, God, it's you. Oh, no. We know that.
Oh, yeah. no, remember, maybe it was that guy we used to watch. No, by the what used to be the Egg and I.
No, remember the other guy who used to go into the 99-cent store? The
Yes!
store? Yep.
Yeah, I go whoop.
Yep.
Whoop.
He liked that.
Yeah.
He was happy.
And you know what? To me, it's no big whoop. Ah. Listen, let's get to our last Greeley Criminal Time for this Saturday, February 9th, 2019. Are you ready, babe?
Yep.
Let's see. Although badly defeated in the first basket throwing game of the season, the Johnstown
basketball?
Well,
No.
they call it basket throwing back
Okay.
then. The Johnstown basketball players are not discouraged, and they will learn to play better. The Boulder Preps beat Johnstown 96-12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they couldn't not play better in the next game.
Well, it's the basket throwing. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they don't understand the game.
That's like a score that the Greeley Bears football team would have.
Wow. That would be too good.
Let's do another one. That wasn't so funny. An epidemic.
Okay.
An epidemic of
Cholera?
what has hit Greeley? Not cholera,
Dancing?
not polio, not dancing,
Herpes.
not herp. Hiccups. That's some hiccupy noise right there. Hiccups hit Greeley, probably due to after effects of the flu. This week, J.W. Reed, C.D. McLean, William McDougall, and Harry Jacobson Hall had unstoppable hiccups.
What about HIPAA? You can't report people's medical conditions in there.
Well, no, every once in a while you do get that thing in the paper of someone who is literally hours and days on end cannot stop hiccuping, and it becomes a real medical issue.
How do you report that without HIPAA? That's like a violation of their...
I don't know. But still, if it's a grievance, it has to be aired. That's not even... I know. I'm sorry. Anyway, that, my friends, is Greeley Crimes at All Times. Yay! For this Saturday, February 9th, 2019 on Dave's Gone By.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday, February 9th for Dave's Gone By. We have so much more to do. We're just getting started in sort of a way on this episode of the show. It's our 684th. We have Inside Broadway coming up. We also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned for Estes, and we will be telling the story of StoryTime, the personalized story that I got when I was about 8 years old of me and the bee. And what else? Did I miss something? Is there anything else we're going to do on this episode of the show? I think that'll do it. I think we're more than halfway through the show already, so that should kind of do it. But, hon, do you know what it's time for?
Erotic one dancing?
No.
What? Oh, let me hear it.
Look who's excited. Look who's terribly, terribly jonesing
Happy
for
there?
the segment that we do, I would say once or twice a month here on Dave's Gone By, because we have human listeners, of course. We have a dog listener who's over there, like most of our human listeners, already asleep. But we also have our potato
Our dog
listeners.
listener's like 90 years old. Give him a break.
I know. But if you watched our show back when we were doing it in Greeley, for a couple of months, we had all our potatoes with us, watching and enjoying the program and giving their love to all of you. Well, the potatoes are still back in Colorado, except for my little friend. So just for you, and you can report back to your brothers, we have a whopping segment. Whop, whop. Then one guy goes whoop, I go whop, 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 whop.
Yeah.
A whopping segment
Judge
of
Wapner.
potato news in the Daverhood. Oh my goodness. Here we go. You say potato, I say potato. Let's call the whole thing potato news. Yes, potato. We're not calling anything off, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing potato news with me. You're just going to have to, oh, you know what? Where did it go? The hat. I need that hat. The Colorado hat. That will make, oh, I'm sorry. It's over there. I was wondering where it went. In fact, yeah, here it is. Oh. See, I'm unrecognizable now.
Oh yeah.
Completely different character.
Where did David go?
Even Steve Allen couldn't do this.
I don't know where you are. Where'd you go?
Good morning. This is Spudward R. Murrow with the potato news for today, February 9th, 2019.
Dun, dun, dun.
We begin with troubling news from Europe, which is suffering from the worst potato crop in 40 years. Oh, so somebody giving a thumbs up to a bad potato crop?
Oh no.
I assume it's to the news itself.
I know they like your hat.
Yeah, there's also a delay in
You look cute in the hat.
With harvesting now complete, Europeans are anticipating potato shortages and price hikes. For example, according to Nation's Restaurant News, potato prices in Belgium are 11 times higher than they were a year ago. They do. Those.
That's good.
Well, then fewer people will eat our brethren. On the plus side, this means fast food restaurants will offer fewer combo meals with free fries. Woo! Or $1 fry promotions. Woo! To which we at Potato News say, starve, Europe, starve.
God.
And to the writers at firstforwomen.com, we say, last week, the website published a piece that asked the question, is it safe to eat potatoes that have sprouted? The answer is yes, provided the potato hasn't shriveled too much and you don't eat the actual sprout. Otherwise, humans are advised to simply pull off the small sprouts and eat a perfectly good potato. To which we say, don't we have enough problems? This is a terribly tragic potato news so far. I know, potato. It gets better. Certainly, potato growers in the Andes have terrible difficulties. Climate change has led to poor harvests and the inability to find new strains of potatoes hardy enough to withstand droughts and shorter growing seasons. Science magazine reports that 1.3 billion people rely on the potato crop for sustenance, especially in the developing world. As such, the quest continues for the better potato.
Could there be one?
Standing in the way are diseases like Phytophthora infestations, aka blight. So until hybrid breeding and other strategies produce more resilient potatoes, farmers will have to work with the resources at hand. For example, in Peru, small-scale farmers belong to an association known as Potato Park, dedicated to preserving hundreds of local potato varieties. The group has been planting these colorful potatoes in test plots, said one grower, quote, potato farmers are used to challenges. All hail, all hail. War is not hail, war is hell, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't believe it, pay attention to this story from Hong Kong, where police destroyed a German-made grenade from World War I. Last Saturday, the device cropped up in a shipment of imported potatoes at a local potato chip factory. The grenade, described by authorities as having been caked with mud and dirt, was discovered by workers at a factory run by Japanese snack maker Calbee. Police used a high-pressure water firing technique to safely detonate the weapon. Superintendent Wilfred Hong Ho Hun said the, quote, the grenade was imported from France together with the other potatoes. Dave Macri, a military historian, speculated that the grenade had likely been dug up by accident by potato harvesters in France. Speaking of old times, everything old is truly new again in American kitchens. Vintage News reports that a sauce from ancient Rome called garum is being brought back into use by modern chefs. Sounds yummy. Garum, also called colatura, was mentioned in a cookbook by Marcus Apicius in the first century. Turns out garum was a popular condiment used in all kinds of dishes. In other words, it was the Roman ketchup. Now, the Romans were not the first to use garum. Their ketchup went back to the 5th century BC, but the Romans popularized it across the Mediterranean. Back then, garum wasn't exactly Heinz organic. The sauce used mostly fish guts, making it similar to modern Thai and Vietnamese flavorings. But like beautiful ketchup, ancient garum had many variations, from dark and savory to light and delicate. It was even said to have medicinal properties to help wounds heal and stimulate appetite. It became so popular, garum factories sprang up everywhere to meet demands. And so, garum is not exactly ketchup, and interesting as it might taste, could never ever be ketchup. But then again, what could? I tell you, what could? Well, I'll tell you what could. Ketchup for children! British company Wonder Chop. Wonder Chop! Don't you love the budget on this show? Wonder Chop has launched a healthy alternative to classic ketchup. It contains 65% tomatoes, compared to Heinz, which has 23%. Other ingredients are peppers, apple cider vinegar, fennel, and rosemary, alongside vitamins B6, B9, B12, B wonderful, D3, and vitamin E. Wonder Chup has no added sweeteners and salt, and it joins a market that already includes True-Made Foods in the United States and England's Kid Chup. In order to make Wonder Chup, the company made a deal with the condiment company, which makes such old-fashioned decisions as still using glass bottles for its sauces. Co-founder Elise Daly explains on the WonderChup.com website that she has a heart condition and her son was born with 2 holes in his heart. This started her on a path of making homemade ketchup as healthily and purely as she possibly could. The result? Wonder Chup! Checking the potato weather for Long Island, New York. Last week, and that silly groundhog fooled us. Winter is still winter. Seasonably cold temperatures this weekend give way to snow early in the week and only moderate warming. So wrap that burlap around your tuber sprouts.
Oh, God.
And settle in for that cold snap.
That sounds dirty.
This has been Spudward R. Murrow with the Potato News. Good night and good growth. Wonder Chops! Yes, indeed. Wonder Chop. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is a wonderful, Wonder Chuppy kind of Dave's Gone By that we've got going for you on this episode of our podcast program of the stream. And you know, we couldn't do, I mean, we could do this show, considering the budget that we have, but we couldn't do it quite the same without our friends at Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway in Hewlett, New York, which is kind of close to where we're from, right here. So, yeah, I'm looking for, we got a brand new one of these. Check this out, folks. These are all the wonderful things that Minuteman can do for you. They're the franchise of Minuteman. They're all over the place. But the one in Hewlett is owned by the Torong family that has owned and operated this franchise since the mid-1970s. They do fine quality work in reasonable time at reasonable prices. And they're located, I think I'll show you where you can find them. 1315 Broadway in the heart of Hewlett, about 2.5 blocks from the LIRR, across the street from the giant Petco that we have here on, pick a letter of the alphabet.
Q.
Q. Q?
Yeah.
Q.
Quilting?
Pick any other letter.
R.
R. Ooh, R's a good one. Ooh, R. Here we go. Hewlett Minuteman Press does raffle tickets, raised letter printing, reception cards, recycled announcements and envelopes and labels. They do reports and report covers, response cards, resume service, complete resume service they have there, ribbons, Rolodex and notary cards, and rubber stamps.
What do you do with the Rolodex?
Well, I guess they can give you old-fashioned Rolodex cards. You know, back in the day. Like, imagine you print your card that would fit into an old-fashioned Rolodex on your desk.
Yeah.
These are just the R words for Hewlett Minuteman Press in the heart of Hewlett, Long Island. And if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job, big or small. So give them a call, 516-569-5577. 516-569-5577. Minuteman is actually open until noon today, and then back open on Monday morning at 8:30 for all your printing, copying needs. They'll do holiday cards, and it's actually time to start thinking about your Passover and Easter cards for people, plus wedding invitations, putting your logo on uniforms and banners and balloons. They do it all. Hewlett Minuteman Press, they are the copy kings. And tell them Dave sent you. You get 10% off any job, big or small. Hewlett Minuteman Press, they do it all. And we do it all here too on Dave's Gone By every week, every Saturday from 7 to 9 Mountain Time, from 9 until 11-ish Eastern Time, with humor and talk, not so much music anymore, but culture, because culture is coming right at you. I'm a playwright, I'm a theater critic, I'm a journalist, I'm a culture vulture, and that is why every week we do Inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Yes, Inside Broadway we go every Saturday, because I like telling you about what's happening on the stages of New York, what's going on. And what's kind of cool about this, well, about me being back in New York, is that I not only get to report about shows, but get to see them and review them and tell you what I thought of them. So it's kind of a cool segment if you love the theater, if you love Broadway. And by the way, welcome to Sam and Steve, and two Steves. Hello to both Steves. Dave, who says, good morning. What, sorry?
It's a Steve I.
The Steve I, that's right. The Steveses. And to Dave, who says, just saying good morning and shalom from Toronto. So shalom to you, Dave.
Say, hey, shalom, eh?
And we were talking, unfortunately, he tuned in after we did Greeley Crimes and Old Times, but Mike Peters joined in for a bit.
Mike.
And Brenda, welcome to Brenda.
Your mom?
No, not my mom, but another Brenda. Wow. There are other Brendas in the world.
Really?
And they're listening to Inside Broadway on Dave's Gone By. So let me just, let me get my paperwork in order. That would be helpful. Here we go. Oh, okay, good. We begin with some news for those of you. Now, I'm sorry for the folks who are still stuck in Greeley at the moment, where it's 8 degrees below zero. I don't know if that's the actual temperature or the wind chill, but ooh. And it's been a lot of miserable weather in New York since we've been here the past couple of weeks, although we've had some really nice days this week. We've got more cold temperatures coming. We even have a little snow coming up later in the week. So it's nice to think about spring and summer weather in New York. And what better way to think about that than to think of Shakespeare in the Park, the New York Shakespeare Festival, and the Public Theater and their season of shows in Central Park at the Delacorte Theater. Well, they have announced this week what those shows are going to be. They're going to be doing Kenny Leon, who just directed American Son on Broadway. He will be staging Much Ado About Nothing. Coriolanus, or as I like to say, oh, he's a Coriol man with a Coriolanus. They're doing Coriolanus about this general who is ill-prepared to become a leader, is one of the lesser-known Shakespeare plays. And then check this out. This is a total something out of left field. The next Disney show is going to be Hercules, a Disney musical based on their animated film from about 20 years ago, Hercules, co-written by our friend of the Daverhood, Alan Menken. That is going to be done outside for free in Central Park as part of Shakespeare in the Park this summer from about June through mid-August. So yeah, that'll be the season of Shakespeare in the Park. Well, even though I'm going to New York City, I'm here on Long Island. And I thought, why not go to a show on Long Island? Why not catch a Wednesday matinee out in the boonies. Because, I used to write a column for about a decade for a magazine called Long Island Pulse that went under a couple of months ago. And they were very kind. They let me do a theater column once a month. And mostly I would end up reviewing New York shows. The editor there, the publisher there, did not like musicals. So she would not let me write about any big Broadway musicals that were happening, or even on Long Island, if they were doing stuff like Annie or Annie Get Your Gun, or if they were doing Cats, or even stuff like Spring Awakening. She didn't want it. She had a thing against musicals, but if it were plays, I could write about it, be it New York or on LI. And I love the column, and I love doing it, and I missed it. I still miss it. But I thought, you know what, for all these times I wrote about Long Island theater, let me go see something. And let me see something at one of the biggest theater companies on the island, Broad Hollow. And Broad Hollow is big enough that they do shows in 3 different stages. So they have, I think there's one in Islip, and they got one maybe in Westbury. And they also have one that's not too far from where I'm staying, over in Elmont, which is, a bit north of Valley Stream. So I thought, hey, let me take a Wednesday afternoone and go see a show in Elmont, especially since they're doing something that is lesser known. They're not doing a Neil Simon play. They're not doing, some Wait Until Dark or something everybody's seen. They chose something of an obscurity, a play that was on Broadway in 1981 called The Supporting Cast. And it's by a playwright named George Firth, who wrote a lot of comedies at the time. Now, you won't know his name to, most of you will not know who he is, but if you saw his face, you'd say, oh, I remember him. He was in an episode of Murder, She Wrote. Oh, I remember him. He did a lot of TV back in the day. He kind of had that Paul Lynde look of this sourpuss fellow, obviously gay, although you weren't overt back then, but he had sort of a kind of, I don't know, not a snively whiplash kind of a face, but he was always like a mean sort of pruny face with a little sarcastic. His other life, he was more of a writer. He was more of a playwright, best known for writing the book for one of the great musical scores of all time. He wrote the book for Company, the Stephen Sondheim musical. So George Firth wrote that. He also had a couple of plays on Broadway. One of them, I think, was a hit called Twigs. And then in 1981, he wrote a play called The Supporting Cast. It's a comedy about a woman who's living in California. She's married to a famous writer, and she's got this lovely house out in California, right near the ocean. Only problem is it's California, so there's earthquakes, there's smog alerts, and the world looks like it's going to be coming to an end, and it's going to start in California. But she's living there, and otherwise it's really nice. If it weren't for the horrible air quality and the occasional earthquake, it would be paradise, it'd be heaven. Now, the thing is, she has just written a book. I don't know if she's kind of the protagonist of the show. She has written a book, a fiction book, but it's obviously based on all these friends of hers. So she invites these friends to her place because she needs their permission. She wants them to sign off and say, oh, it's okay, you can publish this, it's fiction, it's kind of based on me, but it's not really me, but, she's kind of worried how they'll react to the book because she shows them in all their warts and foibles. And in the first line of her book, she mentions there are winners in this life, but there's also losers. Let me tell you about some losers that I know. And amazingly, she invites these people who've never met before, even though they're all friends of this woman, and they all come to this dinner party, this lunch party that she's giving for them, so that she can butter them up. They can read the book while they're there, and then give their permission to. And it's just okay. That is the plot of The Supporting Cast. That's the story that goes on. You will not buy or believe 1 minute of this stupid, bad, old play. I mean, I credit to Bob O'Neill, the artistic director of Broad Hollow, for choosing a show that isn't familiar, for choosing a show that isn't over familiar, and for going for a kind of show that would appease his audience. And if you walk into the Elmont Public Library, which is where they were doing the show and where Broad Hollow does some of its shows, you look around there, and the median age, or what's the difference between median and mean, dear? I never got this.
The median takes
Louder,
away,
yeah.
the median takes away for outliers. So if you have somebody who's 10 and somebody's 100,
Yeah.
the average is 90. It pulls the
Pulls the outliers out.
it pulls the average to the middle. But the median is if you line up all the ages of everybody, it's the one right in the middle.
Okay. The median age is probably 102 of the people who are watching the show. I mean, you've got literally,
Say the modal age.
it's like a nursing home in the library going to this. And okay, I get that. I get that that is still the age group that is going to theater on Long Island, or at least this kind of theater. So you want to appeal to them.
Talk about the ageist thing in the Times.
Well, no, but I mean, there is an ageism thing built into this, and you want to make them happy. So you pick the kind of show that should make them happy, but you don't have to pick crap. You don't have to pick what is essentially a poorly structured, poorly written play. The jokes don't land. I can't imagine they were terribly funny in the first place, because there's a lot of rat-a-tat, boom-boom one-liners that Paul Rudnick can pull off, that a Neil Simon can pull off.
I love the rat-a-tat boom-boom and stuff.
I write rat-a-tat, boom-boom kind of humor when I write plays, but not this stuff. And again, I would even go for jokes that don't land if you believe the characters. If you think for one moment that it would happen this way, that a woman would just say, she'd invite them, she'd hand them a copy of the book and say, don't read this until later, or you all sit there and read. I mean, not one moment of the plot is remotely believable. Terrible.
Did anybody laugh?
Play. Not in the first, I mean, people were literally like sitting there like,
Oh,
Second act was a little bit
that's
better,
sad.
marginally
That's
better.
sad.
No, but here's the deal, and I'm going to appeal to Rob O'Neill, and I wish I were I wish I were the kind of Newsday critic that they would have had 30, 40, 50 years ago, or that Linda Weiner was at some point, or could have been, where I would go to a show like this, and write about a show like this, and be sort of an activist critic, and say to Rob O'Neill, and Rob, if you're watching, or anybody, and say to him, I'm not just going to bomb your show.
No.
I'm not going to say how terrible it was, that it was mostly poorly acted, that you shouldn't have done this in the first place, just to piss on you, just to make you mad, just nasty crap. I'm going to do this to say that I'm 55 years old. I've got no hair up here. I've got a whitish beard, and I was by far the youngest person in your audience. What that means is, in 5 or 10 years, your audience is going to be gone, unless you do something else. You do, doesn't have to be Rent, and there are certainly better musicals than Rent. And I will say this, that next show that Broad Hollow is doing is The Music Man, which is a perennial.
Oh, that will kill.
And people will bring, and suddenly you'll get 40 and 50-year-olds, and they'll bring their grandkids, and they'll bring their kids to a show like that.
Maybe a lot of those people are subscribers.
Yeah, they are. Oh, absolutely, they're all subscribers. Of course they are. And so a Music Man brings in, front of door non-subscriber crowd.
That's why they tried different things, because they can cover themselves with the Music Man.
But I'm just saying, if you're gonna have a subscription and you're gonna bring in people, I'm good actually. Thank you so much. Then try and pick things that are of a higher quality, because you can't make a silk purse out of a. Pardon me.
Wendy Godot waiting for Godot.
Oh, I don't know. That's a crowd that would. I think they would appreciate having Waiting for Godot done. And then halfway through the first act, they'd be like, why the hell are they doing Waiting for Godot?
Long Day's Journey.
Long Day's Journey. That would be a hell of a choice. That would be, or Wilderness.
Yes.
A light masterpiece, but it needs a light touch. Something like, you can go back, you can do old stuff, you can do new stuff, but not, I mean, and I'm not the only one. It would have been simple for them to figure out that this was a sucky play. For example, when Mel Gusso, and I did not have any great love for Mel Gusso as a critic of the New York Times, but when he reviewed this show back in 1981 on Broadway, he called it a featherweight comedy that wilts in the Broadway spotlight. It was a flop. It was a one-month flop, and check out the original cast when they did it on Broadway. It was Hope Lang,
Oh, wow.
Joyce Van Patten, Jack Guilford, and Sandy Dennis.
That's hard to beat.
Okay. Well, if it was featherweight on Broadway, it downright collapses at the Elmont Theater. I mean, I've seen Bad Neil Simon. Bad Neil Simon is better than this. And John Simon, who of course was no pushover,
Sure.
he called the show, quote, profoundly worthless.
Oh my God.
He's actually, and he's right. So I'm glad Long Island has some theater left, and Broad Hollow knows its audience. But I think I've hammered home that this is a bad play. Some of the actors are okay. A couple are passable. One woman, I'm not going to name her, is doing a character who is Norma Desmond by way of Adina Monsoon. For people who know, absolutely fabulous.
So you say Masi Mas. A
little over the top.
A little too much.
Oh, she was on the roof climbing down over the top, if I tell you about this. There's another actress there who is, she's a bit better, and she more favorably recalls Estelle Getty in The Golden Girls, but she doesn't have the energy. She doesn't have the brio to pull that off. So nice set, very nice lighting. Sound quality wasn't bad, because it was mic'd and you could hear everybody and it wasn't unpleasantly mic'd. So the tech was pretty good on this for the most part. There were some sound effects that were obviously pre-recorded and could have been done a lot better. But point is, I'm giving the supporting cast a very unsupportive thumbs down, and just begging, Rob O'Neill and the folks at Broad Hollow Theater that, you can do a Music Man, because that's going to get you subscribers, and that's going to get you people who don't mind seeing that musical again, and it'll get you the people who bring their grandchildren to a musical on Long Island, and to audition for it in big families, so they'll bring their families, and that allows you, whatever money you're not getting from governmental support of the arts, to get money coming in from subscribers and one-time ticket sale buyers. But please, if you want to save any kind of theater on Long Island, do other better work. Okay, so end the soapbox. And by the way, speaking of different work and newer work and somewhat unusual work, we move back to Broadway because an announcement was made this week of an upcoming Broadway drama called The Height of the Storm. It's by Florian Zeller. And if you know that name, it's because he did a show called The Father, not Strindberg's The Father. He did a drama called The Father, a couple of years ago with Frank Langella on Broadway about this dad who is starting to get dementia. And it's the world refracted through his lens, through his eyes. Anyway, Florian Zeller has another play that they're going to do, and it's called The Height of the Storm. It'll be directed by Jonathan Kent, opening for a limited run in September at the Samuel J. Friedman Theater as part of Manhattan Theater Club's Broadway season. Check out the cast: Eileen Atkins and Jonathan Pryce. And it's all about a long married couple who grapple with a life change. The show was a hit, running at London's Wyndham Theater, so they're basically moving it to Broadway intact. And if you know Jonathan Pryce, he of course was in Miss Saigon, and Eileen Atkins did that show about Virginia Woolf a few years back. So anyway, hey, Pryce, Atkins, The Height of the Storm, coming not this season, but next season, early on, to Broadway. Well, if you love me talking about Broadway and the theater, even when I'm kind of mean about it, you're going to want to get this publication. It's called Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. Since the mid-1970s, Performing Arts Insider, since the mid-1940s, Performing Arts Insider has been a 75-year-old publication which tells you about every single show on, off, and off Broadway. For example, let's get right to this page. Look at every single theater on Broadway, how many seats it has, who owns it. Is it Nederlander, Schubert, who's the other one? Jude Hampson, and what shows are in it, how long are they in it for? Then we move on. A list of all the press agents. These are the people that you get in touch with if you want to know how to get in touch with any show on Broadway. The big ones include Bono Brian Brown, DKC O&M, Polk and Company, Matt Ross, Jeffrey Richards, Springer Associates, all their information about how to get in the publicity office, how you get in touch with the folks who handle the press for these shows. And then we start getting to the meat of the magazine day by day on Broadway, every show that's currently running, as well as every show when it starts, previews, opens, and closes on Broadway. And the same, and you can't find this anywhere else, for off and off Broadway. Check that out. These are all the shows that are currently running. And now, if we wanted to do, let's say, what is opening Today. What is today? Today is February 9th. Let's see if we have a listing for February 9th, off Broadway. Ooh, several. For example, starting previews today at the York Theater, The Day Before Spring. At Lincoln Center, their Claire Toe, their small theater. They've got Mary's Seacole. The New Victory Theater, which does stuff for families and kids. They have a show called A Simple Space. And I'm going to let you know that at the Duke Theater, a play called Maestro is closing tonight. Also at the Shetler Theater, a show called The Master of the Crossroads, that is closing today. So that is just one piece of what I call the Broadway or off Broadway puzzle that you get from these lists on Performing Arts Insider. And then, of course, we did the meat of the magazine, now the heart of the magazine, as we approach Valentine's Day, a guide to every single show, comprehensive listings, every show on Broadway, coming to Broadway in the months and years ahead, and of course, off-Broadway and off-Broadway as well. So we go from Accidentally Blonde to actually where, ooh, the F word, ooh. Wilderness, I mentioned that show just before. Alice by Heart, American Tradition, Anne of Green Gables, At the Illusionists Table, Avenue Q, which you have just a couple of more months to see before that closes. Awake, Barefoot, Behind the, you get the idea. It's Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. To subscribe, go to performingartsinsider.com. performingartsinsider.com. It's an expensive publication, but the folks who read it renew year after year because it's the only place they can get all that great info in this way. Performingartsinsider.com. It is the Bible of the Broadway. Well, let's move on to some more about the theater on Inside Broadway. I've got another show to review for you, and then a little bit more Broadway news. But I even have I have a visual for you. Yes, about a week and a half ago, I went to see a revuesical, one of these bio jukebox musicals on Broadway, The Cher Show. The Cher Show at the Neil Simon Theater. It opened about a month ago or so. When did it open? Do I have that? Opened on December 3rd at the Neil Simon Theater and has been running to pretty good houses ever since. It's directed by Jason Moore. It's got a book by Rick Elise. He's one of the writers of Jersey Boys. So he has that experience in taking pop music and the life of a pop artist and turning it into theater. So this tells the story of Cher. What was her birth name? I better keep my papers handy. Her birth name was, do I have that? Well, it's something really, really Italian. Anyway, Sonny was Italian. She was Armenian. Sorry, there. But here's the deal. They use the format of kind of the Cher Show that she did on TV in the Sonny and Cher Show to backtrack and tell her story of her upbringing with her mom raising her and also being really, really young when she met Sonny and he took control of her career and of their marriage and for a while of her life. So she does that, and then the conceit of the show, and it kind of works, it's kind of neat, is that not one person plays Cher, but they have three different actresses, Teal Wicks and, I should have written this out a little easier, Michaela Diamond and Stephanie J. Block all play Cher at three different stages of their lives. So you have the young, sort of impressionable Sonny and Cher, which is just like literally 14 years old and starting to want to sing and do some music and do some arts and entertainment. And then you've got the Cher who's a famous person, but is figuring out what it means to be famous, and a wife and a mom. So she's the Cher who does this.
Breaking news, it's National Pizza and National Bagel Day today.
Oh my goodness.
And they both have deals all the places.
Yes, today is National Pizza and National Bagel Day, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news that my wife is saying. Don't know how, I'm not like I can share pizza with you online, unfortunately, but it sure makes me think about what I'm going to have for lunch today, I'll tell you that.
And also kind of cheesy.
Ooh, cheesy. Well, we're going to pepper the show with this information. Ha, ha, ha. I just hope it doesn't turn into a sausage party. Yes, indeed.
Just don't show anyone your Bialy.
I can't.
Do you want to go celebrate
There's
later?
a whole other story. Yeah. Somewhere we'll do it. But I'm still in the middle of Inside Broadway on Dave's Gone By. So
Is there anything you liked better than the other play? Did you like Cher?
I certainly like Cher more than the supporting cast. I give the supporting cast barely 2 stars out of 4. Cher gets 3 stars. So I was telling folks how 3 different actresses play Cher at different parts of her life.
Like that, yeah.
And Stephanie J. Block, she makes the biggest impression because she comes out right at the beginning of the show, looks like Cher, sounds like Cher, has the attitude, and that is the wiser, more mature Cher looking back on her life with sass and moxie. But post-Bob, yeah, well, middle Cher is also Bob Mackie Cher. That's when she's on the air, married to Sonny, having Chastity, and no, well, not actual Chastity in her life, she's married, having the baby Chastity, and trying to balance that. And also balance realizing that Sonny, while a very sweet character and a brilliant character, is also a man back in the day, yes, and controlling every aspect of her life, from every penny of her finances to her work schedule, to her life schedule, forcing her to work when she wants to be home babysitting with a kid, and just saying, this is what you do. And if you want to be successful, which we are, and you want to stay on top, which we are, you have to do this and live this way and do this then. And then when she realizes that she doesn't want to be with him anymore and deal with him anymore because he's become kind of really controlling and angry, and she divorces him, all she gets out of it is a car.
What?
I mean, a nice car. But yeah, because he owned everything. Cher Enterprises with her name on it. His name is on all the, the name of it is Cher, but the controlling interest is 99% his. So that was a learning curve for her. So they tell that story, and it's so glorified Wikipedia in some senses. I'm sorry?
I'll text you.
Please do. So, I'm not the hugest Cher fan, although I like some of her songs and some of her music. I definitely appreciate the pop songs that Sonny and Cher did. In fact, the first time that the show really gets you goosebumpy and your blood going in the first act, it's almost a half hour in when else they play or they sing I Got You, Babe. And then it's one of these non-killable, forever great songs. It's not the best lyrics ever written, but they're heartfelt, catchy song. Bono just had a great moment when writing it, and it still works like gangbusters. And it's that moment in the first act when you're like, okay, yeah, I'm in it. And of course, we're watching the love story of Sonny and Cher while they're singing it. So that's very effective. And there are effective moments throughout and scenes that work, and then some scenes that don't work where we're just kind of like, and then this happened, and then this happened. And it isn't always terribly dramatic, or they're shoehorning songs in when we don't really need to hear them and bopping back and forth in time. I think the only sequence that I really took a dislike to was in the second act, which is overlong. There's one about the Oscars. And, because Cher wants to be taken seriously as a dramatic actress. So she meets Robert Altman, and I like those scenes where he's putting her into plays and he's putting her into movies, because she did Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean. So that stuff works well. But then she's judging her entire value on whether or not she's nominated or wins an Oscar. Like, suddenly not winning an Oscar is this terrible slap in the face and this tragedy for her. It's like, well, wait, what? Really? Get your values straight, lady. Because her values in the first act are very righteous. It's like, look, I want to be a person, and I also want to be a proper mom to Chastity, and I can't do this with a schedule. It's just burning me out. We get that. That's cool. But when you start saying, well, I'm in Hollywood, and it's true, if I'm not considered worthy of an Oscar, well, screw them, and you kind of feel a little bit ooky about that whole sequence in the second act, and I don't think they balanced that right. But overall, look, I give the show 3 stars. If you like Cher, if you love her music, of course, add half a star. If you kind of like Cher, you certainly respect her and what she's brought to music and to entertainment, and what she means to a lot of people, and what she took under control. There's a bad scene, unfortunately, with Lucille Ball, who gives her some good advice, but it's just the scene just doesn't work. And she became the next iteration almost of Lucille Ball, of controlling her net worth and controlling her image and controlling her television work. If you believe in that, if you respect that, if you love Cher, as so many people do, go see the Cher Show at the Neil Simon Theater on Broadway. Anyway, so thumbs up there from, I'm not sure who's giving me thumbs up, but thank you so much. And welcome, by the way, to Claudia and Lisa and Brenda. My wife is looking for her headphones. I don't honestly know where they are. There is a set of headphones. They're kind of bulky looking, but they're under the desk there. I don't know what else to tell you. They would have been with your cell phone, probably. Anywho, we're doing Inside Broadway here on Dave's Gone by. A little bit more Broadway-related news. I wish I didn't have to report this one, but the New York Post did. Broadway choreographer David Marquez was arrested this week for molesting a 16-year-old boy who came to him all the way from Oregon for dance lessons. So check this out. There's this guy. He's choreographed on Broadway. He choreographed a couple of flops, actually. He did The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, if anybody remembers that, and the Gershwin's Fascinating Rhythm. He also did the dance for and the movement for a play called Stanley that bored the hell out of me. But anyway, this guy, David Marquez, a boy comes to him from Oregon for dance lessons, and what happens, the boy is on the couch for some reason, and Marquez is touching him and fondling him over his clothes for some reason, and so he was arrested for that reason. Of all the flops he directed, I guess Marquez's penis wasn't the only thing that was floppy. I wrote that. Anyway, he's been charged with, quote, forcible touching and sex abuse, and then someone connected to the cases that they're expecting. I think they would have said this to the New York Post only because there might be something in the hopper, that there might be other accusations pending against David Marquez. But anywho, wish I didn't have. Thank goodness I'm not ending the segment on that news. I am ending the segment on some sad news for people who like the musical Anastasia, or properly Anastasia, on Broadway. It hasn't quite been doing that well. There was a point when it was making like $1 million a week, grossing $1 million a week around the holidays and such. Hasn't been making that kind of money since. So they have announced that it will end on March 31st, about 2 years after it opened. So it's been running and running, but it has a high operating cost. So I don't think it's ever going to quite break even on Broadway. Should have a nice tour possibility, though. Anastasia, it began on Broadway in 2017. So by the time it closes, it will have played 34 previews and 808 regular performances at the Broadhurst Theater. Now, the book is by playwright Terrence McNally. You know him from Masterclass and Love, Valor, Compassion. The score is by Flaherty and Aarons. So they did Once on This Island, which had a very highly acclaimed Tony-winning revival last season, although it too was not financially successful. They also did Ragtime. And it's directed by Darko Trenjak. The show is all about this brave woman in Paris who tries to learn about her true past in Russia. So is she actually masquerading as royalty, or is she royalty masquerading as non-royalty? Apparently people like the show. It's gotten good reviews, and it's one of those shows that people, if they've taken their 14-year-old daughter to Phantom 10 times, and Les Mis isn't running, and so forth, they need a show for that demographic, Anastasia. So if you haven't seen it, it's running 2 more months. It's closing March 31st on Broadway at the Broadhurst Theater. And so risking Facebook pulling me offline here, let's hear just a little bit of a song called Paris Holds the Key to Your Heart from Anastasia's cast album.
Voila, mes amis, here's Harry. Now that we're here, follow me. To you with the view as you stroll down La Rue. I say all Harry will be singing to you.
One thing about Flaherty and Aarons, when they write a show, like it, dislike it, like their work. I mean, because there's no Flaherty and Aarons score that I would listen to, like a Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein score, or a Frank Lesser score, or even a William Finn or a Sondheim score, and yet they are pros, right? They have melody in the old-fashioned way. They've got lyrics, and I don't want to say old-fashioned way, but they're real good craftspeople. So give it to them, and if you get a chance, go see Anastasia on Broadway. Well, that is Inside Broadway for this Saturday, February 9th, 2019, on Dave's Gone By, hosted by me, Dave Lefkowitz, every Saturday on this Facebook channel, facebook.com/radio Dave Lefkowitz. For more information about the program, including our extensive audio archives, make sure you visit davesgoneby.com. That is the place to watch the very first program we ever did 16 years ago on Long Island Radio. davesgoneby.com. You can download it as an MP3 or just stream it on your computer. Right? You can watch the 10th show. We have the 100th show, the 500th episode. And that one, I think Dr. Demento and Christine Lavin came back and were guests on again. Really exciting stuff. So it's all there. It's all absolutely free for your entertainment at davesgoneby.com. Please do check out the website. And if you want to contact me, remember davesgoneby@aol.com is one way to do that. davesgoneby@aol.com, or message me right here on Facebook, whether it's during the show, you can give me the thumbs up, or you can give me comments that I can sometimes get a chance to read on here while the show is going on, or just later on in the week when the show's over. Message me, let me know what you think of the show. Let me know ideas for new segments for the program. I don't want this to get stale. Sometimes I look over during the week and say, well, what am I doing this week? Well, okay, I'm doing Inside Broadway. Okay, I'm doing this and the Limerick of the Damned. But I'm trying to get away from doing the segues because I can't play much music. So I'm trying to think of other stuff. Storytime is relatively recent. So I'm kind of happy to be bringing that. I'd love to bring the Wretched Pun of Destiny back if I can think of some more puns. So if you think of a segment, maybe I can go there and work on it and do it. So it's all our old stuff is at davesgoneby.com, but write me your thoughts, your shout outs, your thumbs up, thumbs down, and big smiles and hearts. Hey, it's Valentine's Day. Give me some hearts at facebook.com Radio Dave Lefkowitz. And by the way, we also have a Twitter page, Radio Dave 2. Radio Dave, the number 2. All right, it is 11 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time, here in the Long Island Daverhood. Are we done? Because, our show while we're in New York is from 9 to 11. No, we're not done by any stretch of this crazy imagination. We have more to do for you. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up. Indeed, we do. And we also have, oh boy, let's get right to it, shall we? I think we should. It's story time.
Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story. Remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would. You gotta give in, so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
Lum-de-doo-de-lum-de-die, lum-de-doo-de-lum-de-die. Yes, indeed. Story time it is every Saturday here in the Daverhood on Dave's Gone By, where we started doing this months ago because I found a book, an amazing book, in a bin at a service station where we were having our brakes repaired or brakes tuned up on our Subaru. And amidst all the popular mechanics and the car books and the auto trend books and the other children's books was a book called a cow for Hansel. A cow for Hansel. And we actually read the book cover to cover over several weeks on the program. It was a joyful event. And so since then, and since it allows me not to have to write material, but make fun of other people's material, we've been doing different kinds of books in the Daverhood. So we've been reading from last week, it was my 1987 New York State driver's license manual. We've also done a book about a crazy chicken. We did a book about vegetable friends that Potato really liked. It was wonderful. What else did we do? Well, we've had lots of books since then. We haven't had this one. And I have a whole new trough, I should say, or a whole new shall we say, treasure chest of places to get material for this sequence or this segment, because I'm back home in the place that I grew up in since I was 12 years old. Now, a lot of the books when I had when I was truly a child are gone. You know, we gave them away when we moved when I was 12 years old. We gave them to libraries, we gave them to books. Excuse me, our dog is awake and he's going through my knapsack. I kind of have to move that out of the way. Pardon me. Excuse me, look, we go. There we go. If you're good, at the end of story time, I'll show you my dog. So anyway, I found this book, though, among my belongings. The reason we didn't give this one away is it isn't just a story. It isn't just a children's tale. It is a personalized story. They used to do this back then, and I'll tell you when back then was. It was 1973. So I was actually already kind of too old for this book, but we couldn't resist the doing this, because here's the deal. Me and the Bee. Ladies and gentlemen, read about Me and the Bee, your personal story by the Magic Computer. Ooh, this is what they did. A genius idea back then. You would write in to this company, and this company would take the personal information. It's almost like turning Mad Libs into something published. But you would give the name of the kid, where the kid's growing up, the kid's friends' names, some other information about the kid, and they would they were working into the framework of the actual book. So when you got it, when the kid got to read the book, it was literally about him and his friends, even though obviously 88% of the book is the same for everybody. The actual story is just the story with names and places filled in a la Mad Libs. So why don't we read together, read about Me and the Bee, your personal story by the Magic Computer. And as Joyce mentioned early in the show, I am kind of phobic about bees and wasps. So if I get a little freaky while reading this, you will understand. This is a book. Here, I'll show you. A Read About Me book for David which they spelled wrong. Some things never change. David Lefkowitz, with love from my dad. And it's written by Sarah Stein, illustrated by Richard Hefter, designed by Richard Hefter and Martin Stephen Moskoff. And remember, this is done by computer, presumably, back in the days when people were using COBOL and BASIC to program little tiny computers. You know, this wasn't this current age where I could go on a Mac or a PC, put this together on like Photoshop and print it out and have it next week. This was a thing. All right, here we go. And let's see. Created by Media Projects Incorporated, Story and Pictures, copyright 1973, by Me Books Publishing Company, a division of Dark Direct Merchandising Corps, and the Symphonette Press. Remember the Longines Symphonette, which was another kind of mail order thing where you would get classical music by mail, and they also sold radios, I think. Symphonette Press had something to do with this, a service of Longines Wittnauer Inc. All rights reserved, printed in the USA, patent pending. So they haven't actually patented this technique yet, as you'll see, because the writing in the book is literally like an old Selectric typewriter, or not even, literally like a hand typewriter before they even had self-correcting Selectric typewriters. Look at the print on this. This is not Times New Roman, folks. This is pica. All right. This is a strange story. And notice the mailman coming to where we used to live in Brooklyn, Ocean Parkway. So I was 9 years old when I got this book. I was still living on Ocean Parkway in Brooklyn, New York. This is a strange story, and maybe people won't believe it. And maybe they won't believe it happened right here in Brooklyn. Well, if you live and grow up in Brooklyn, you know anything happens in Brooklyn, so I believe it. And maybe they won't believe it happened to a boy named David Lefkowitz. No, happened to a boy named David Lefkowitz, thank you very much, who one day got a small brown box. Ooh. This is long before the days of Amazon. And look, here the box is addressed to me David left, did they get it right there? No, they got it wrong for the whole damn book. David Lefkowitz, Ocean Parkway, Brooklyn, New York. Quote, I got a box and it's for me, yelled David, as I still do every time I see a delivery truck or UPS coming or FedEx. I'm like, ooh, a box. I still feel that way, don't you? His friends came to see. The string was tangled and hard to untie. The paper was stapled and taped and hard to get off. Lee said, you can't open it. And this is really sad. I must have had a friend in elementary school named Lee, and I have no idea who the hell that was. I had another friend named Jonathan. I remember him. Jonathan, and I believe he's now a friend on Facebook here. I don't know if he watches the show, but I have been in touch with Jonathan. Jonathan said, you can't open it. Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for believing in me. But eventually they get it open. See, it's handled with care. David, oh, the work they put into putting this book together. But David could. He unknotted the string, pried out the staples, took off the paper, tore the tape, lifted the lid. It's like the song The Gift in the Velvet Underground album. And a bee buzzed out. Which would it would make me shit my pants, especially at that age. I was neurotic about bees. If somebody sent me a bee in the mail and it was a live bee and I opened the package and a bee buzzed out, I would literally start screaming, crap my pants, and run out of the room and jump out the window. I probably still would. But oh boy, no, this was a special kind of bee. The bee flew in loops. She flew in zigzags. She flew in letters that everyone could plainly see behind her in the sky. She wrote, catch me if you can. There you go. There's a bee farting words, ladies and gentlemen, in this book, Me and the Bee. The bee flew high over David and Jonathan and Lynn. I remember Lynn, and Lynn is actually a friend on Facebook. She was never a girlfriend, but she was my first girl friend. She flew high over Ocean Parkway. She flew high over Brooklyn. I wonder how high she flew. If she flew over Colorado, she'd really be high. Until she was up in the clear blue sky, leaving a trail of letters that spelled, David, catch me if you can. Little bee, little son of a bee, actually. Everybody was amazed. Everybody wanted to catch a bee that could write words behind her in the sky. Okay. Lee and Lynn saw it. They ran after the bee. A dog named Buttons saw it. Now this is cool. Buttons was my grandmother's dog. My dad's mother had a mutt named Buttons, and that I remember that dog because we'd see Grandma a couple of times a week. And Buttons, what do I remember about Buttons? Nice dog until it got old and got a little snappy, and they had to put her down. Buttons ran me into a tree once. Wasn't her fault. She was chasing either a squirrel or a cat, and we were on Ocean Parkway, or either that or Church Avenue. And I was holding it, trying to walk it, and Buttons saw something and started to run, and I just went right into a tree. Thank you, Buttons. Thank you. Kind of a revenge when we put you down a few years later. But anyway, a dog named Buttons saw it and ran after the bee. A cat named Cool saw it and ran after the bee. Now my mom, I think this is where that came from. My mom had a friend named Arlene. Excuse me, our friend Arlene that we used to see in Canarsie, I'm thinking. And Arlene had cats, and her cat was named Cool, and that's where we got that from. Everyone who lived on Ocean Parkway saw it. They all ran after the bee, but David did not. No, sure as hell I wouldn't run after a bee. What do you do if you catch a bee? You're going to run after catch it in your hands? But that's what they're trying to do. Look, it's kind of like a mix between Sergeant Pepper and Yellow Submarine and the Village People, I guess, are all trying to run and catch this flying bee, leaving a trail of word farts after it. A policeman saw it. A fireman saw it. A football player saw it. A dancer, a drummer, and a teacher saw it. They ran and tiptoed and leaped and stumbled after the bee, but one person didn't, the smart one. What happens? What happens in Me and the Bee? Let's see. People on motorcycles, people in trucks and buses and cars all saw the bee that could leave a trail of words behind her in the sky. They all wanted to have a bee like that. They clattered and roared and rumbled and beeped and honked and screeched after the bee. But David didn't. Yeah, David had better things to do than but wait, there's more. There's more. Even our dog is getting bored with this book. Look, and there's farm animals too. Oh boy! And notice the beautiful dot matrixy printing of this book from 1973. Cute pig though. Cuter than these other ongoing pigs that we mentioned beforehand. There we go. I need interns on this program. All right, here we go. A pig in a pen saw it and grunted after the bee. A cow in a meadow saw it and clumped after the bee. Clump, clump. And all the other animals that lived near Brooklyn saw it. There's animals near Brooklyn there. I won't go there. And they trotted and galloped and slithered and hopped after the bee, but David did not. That smart David Lefkowitz. Look, it's the blue meanie chasing after the bee right there. And the Red Baron as well. A balloonist, a pilot, a kite flyer, an astronaut, and a whole flock of birds. So I wonder if I was supposed to be the one, like in filling these out like Mad Libs, if I was the one coming up with who would be chasing after the bee. I imagine not, because they had to animate it. So no, those were all preset. They swooshed and zoomed and baroomed and flip-flopped after the bee, but nobody could catch her. Except, wait, what? Oh, here we go. Nobody could catch her. Oh, there's finally an arc to this damn book. Except David. He had a cunning plan. He walked right on down Ocean Parkway toward the nearest market. And when he got there, he looked at rows and rows of groceries. Finally, he found it. You think it's going to be honey? Or what he's looking for? He should have, I guess, used the hive mind. Anyway, yep, I'm right. There we go. Honey, can I come back one time down in the back? Something. No, it's honey with it's Brooklyn honey. So you know it has all sorts of impure chemicals in it. He found a jar of honey. He paid for the honey and carried it back home. He opened the jar and poured a puddle of sticky honey into the small box. I think Henry Miller wrote a line like that too. He put the box down right next to his own home. Then he waited. Notice this box belongs to Dave Lefkowitz. Oh, sorry, Dave Lefkowitz. Oh dear. Oh, look. There's all the people coming, following the bee. Does the bee get attracted by the honey? Soon there was a noise of running and leaping and roaring and rumbling and beeping and screeching and glomping and galloping, slithering, hopping, swooping, zooming, flip-flopping, and buzzing. Finally, they got to the actual bee part, ladies and gentlemen, unless it's the woman next door's vibrator. There was the bee. There were Lee and Jonathan. There were all the animals and all the people chasing down Ocean Parkway, all trying to catch the bee that could leave a trail of words behind her in the sky. Suddenly they stopped and looked surprised and cheered and clapped and laughed because that bee flew back down Ocean Parkway, back to David Lefkowitz, back into the small box. And if you hold this page up to a mirror, you will know what the bee wrote for David. Now this should actually work if I do. No, it's still backwards. Shoot. Well, let's see if I can do this here. I won't sting if you'll bring honey every day. I love you. And what the word is that? And I can't. What word is that? And actually, hold on. I can't believe I can't figure this out. And Denard you, Grand you, I need to get to a mirror. Hold on, folks. Oh, what freaking word is this? Oh, go! Doy. Sorry, folks. I will do that again. I won't sting if you'll bring honey every day. I love you and guard you if you'll let me stay. So the bee flies back into the box, and he promises to be a delightful, good companion who won't maul him like the emotional support alligator. He'll just be a nice, good little bee friend. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Get it? Anywho, this is a Read About Me book. I bet they had some others, because it is a kind of brilliant idea. Read About Me and the Bee, back from 1973. For me, Dave Lefkowitz. In the Daverhood, that concludes Storytime for this Saturday, February 9, 2019. So, yeah, our 684th episode of this Facebookio radio podcastio program of the stream. Well, we're not quite done with the show. Oh my God, speaking of going back in time, someone I knew, I believe, from junior high school and high school, Robert, just tuned in. So welcome to Robert. I'm not sure if you're from elementary. I think you're from high school. And welcome, by the way, to Michael and David and Claudia and Lisa and Brenda and Mike and all these other folks who have tuned in since we started back at 9 o'clock Eastern time in the Daverhood. Thank you, Robert. Happy New Year to you, too. And I hope that you're well. And, you know, can you still say Happy New Year when it's the middle of February? I can. Can't really do Happy Jewish New Year at this point, but Shana Tova to you as well. We have one more thing to do in the Daverhood, and that is do our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. But before we get to that, one thing that I enjoy doing is reminding people, over the past couple of weeks, we haven't had guests on the show. We're trying to line up some guests for February and March, and we'll start getting more celebrities and people back in the Daverhood. But it's been an effort to come back here to Long Island and do this show and do all the other things that I'm trying to do in my life. And so I haven't really had time to deal with guests yet. So we've been doing our regular playing old shows like we did back when we started in 2002, and I've had a blast doing them. But we have had lots and lots of guests on the program. You can go to davesgoneby.com and hear all the archives, hear all those interviews. But we also like it to keep track of the guests and what they're up to in a segment called Friends of the Daverhood. So the idea of Friends of the Daverhood is, look, somebody has been on the show. They were on Broadway, off-Broadway, they were on TV, they're writing a book, and then years pass, and they're doing other things. We like to let you know, hey, this is a friend of ours. What are they up to now? So let's tell you what the Friends of the Daverhood, and yes, Robert is saying, you're back on Long Island? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. Hard as it is to believe, yes, for several weeks. We will be back here on Long Island and in Manhattan for Dave's Gone By before I head back to Colorado in early summer. So yeah, Robert, maybe let's meet in the city and do a meal if you're buying. Just kidding. Anywho, let's get to the Friends of the Daverhood. Now, through this weekend, our recent friend Thomas G. Waits co-wrote and stages the play Barefoot. That is at the Gene Frankel Theater off-Broadway, so do check that out. Tomorrow, Mike Agranoff, he is part of the Music at Maltby's series. He's doing a concert at a private house in Princeton, New Jersey. To find out more and to go to MikeAgranoff.com, AGRANOFF, MikeAgranoff.com. And speaking of Friends of the Daverhood, our recent friend Stephen just logged in. Welcome, Stephen. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for being part of our New Year's show. And on Monday, this Monday, February 11th, New York Live Arts on West 19th Street. There's going to be a discussion between the artistic director of the Public Theater, Oscar Eustace, and brilliant Tony Award-winning choreographer Bill T. Jones who has been a friend of the Daverhood, a guest on the Daverhood. Oh boy, oh, perfect for Valentine's. We're going to get to this. That is this Monday at New York Live Arts on West 19th Street. And then Thursday through Sunday, Marilyn May. Speaking of Valentine's Day, she is doing her show, Always from the Heart. That is at the Iridium Theater at 1650 Broadway. And Marilyn May, she was on the show a couple of years ago. She is 91, maybe 92 years old at this point. So yay for her. Tevye Served Raw. It was a hit off Broadway. They're bringing it back to the Playroom Theater, featuring our friend Alan Lewis Rickman. That is running this week through February 13th. At Shetler Studios off Broadway, Peter B. Hodges has a play called The Glen, which is adapted kind of based on the life of his friend and ours in the Daverhood, theater critic Glenn Loney. That is at Shetler Studios. The Broadway play Choir Boy, featuring our friend of the Daverhood, Austin Pingleton. That is at the Samuel J. Friedman Theater, owned by Manhattan Theater Club, running through February 17th. Our theater critic friend Peter Felicia has written a play called God Shows Up, and it's opening this weekend at the Playroom Theater on West 46th Street. At Manhattan Class Company, there's a new musical by Duncan Sheik and our friend Stephen Sater. It's called Alice by Heart, and that is over on 24 Bond Street, running through mid-March. Want to let you know that the band's visit by David Yazbek, our friend of the Daverhood. David Yazbek, brilliant composer, songwriter. This is the guy who did, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And also, what's that musical about, based on the movie of these English guys who take their clothes off and they do a strip thing for charity. They're lower class, working collar people.
Chippendales?
Well, what was the name of that? Anyway, they made a musical of it. It was very funny. No, it was not Boys in the Hood.
It was Boys in the Hood.
Actually, come to think of it, they were non-Jewish. They'd be wearing hoodies over something. But no, it was, the play I'm talking about.
Want me to look it up? Where's my
No,
phone?
it's okay. And so anyway, David Yazbek did the score for that. Anyway, his musical, The Band's Visit, unfortunately, is going to be closing, but you have until April 7th to catch it on Broadway at the Barrymore Theater. And then you've got Avi Hoffman in Florida, South Florida, in South Beach, doing panels and plays called Yiddishkeit at the Betsy with Avi Hoffman. He's coordinating all of that. On Broadway, Beautiful, the Carole King musical at the Stephen Sondheim Theater features a book by our friend Douglas McGrath, Come From Away, the marvelous musical by Irene Sankoff and David Hine. That is at the Gerald Schoenfeld Theater. To Kill a Mockingbird, I saw that a week or two ago, features our friend Dakin Matthews in a great featured role as the judge. That is at the Schubert Theater on Broadway. Daniel Breaker is still in Hamilton. Note, Frank Cleaver says Calendar Girls. You've got the right idea, but that was the one about the older women like Helen Mirren who appear naked on calendars. A decade before that, there was a show about men who did it in kind of a stand-up Chippendales-y way. And it was called, bugger, I can't
Want
think
me
of
to
it.
look?
Anyway, you might as well use my phone. My phone is right there.
Okay.
It was called
Give me a second.
the
What's his name?
David Yazbek, Y-A-Z-B-E-K, and do strip. They did at the very end of the show.
David Yazbek, show about strippers.
And it was called
Soul Bearing. Full Monty.
Full Monty. Thank you, the Full
And
Monty.
somebody
Thank
wrote
you,
you a
dear.
message about tonight.
Tonight? What?
Good morning, baby.
Oh no. No, it's not tonight. That'll be tomorrow
It
evening.
says,
Let me guess, it's canceled.
good morning, Davey. How late does the show end tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's
I
right.
have an early morning meeting.
All right. Well, I'll deal with that later.
Then they sent you a picture that looks like a full Monty.
Really? Ew. Don't want to know. Really don't want to know. Daniel Baker is in Hamilton on Broadway playing Ellen Burr.
Ah!
What? Oh, that's right, Hamilton. My wife's nemesis there. Not Danny Burston. I mean, not Daniel Breaker. Danny Burston is a friend of the Daverhood. He's playing Alfie Doolittle on Broadway in My Fair Lady. That is at the Vivian Beaumont Theater. Jim Caruso's Cast Party every Monday night at Birdland on TV. Vicki Lawrence and Leslie Jordan are both in The Cool Kids on Fox Television. Evan Seplow is the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com. And of course, you can always find and listen to new and old Dr. Demento shows at drdemento.com.
I gave you the Stay Demented button.
Oh, that's my wife found this in my drawer. Look at this. This is an authentic, official Dr. Demento Stay Demented button. And I have stayed demented all these years. Is that way cool or what? I shouldn't throw out all my crap. I should just use it for the show.
Yes, I think you should.
Yeah. And a shout out to Eva Heineman of the TV show High Drama, Charlie Gross and Leslie Hope Ann Blake of their show Two on the Aisle, and of course to Mary Shen Barnage, who writes reviews about Chicago theater for TotalTheater.com and Windy City Times, and of course Bob Cudmore doing podcasts about upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. All right, it is 11:30 in the morning Eastern Time here in Long Island, on Long Island, where I've been doing the Dave's Gone By Facebookio podcastio program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, our wonderful dog, Oofty Gooft, who's wandering around. We can actually show him before we do our...
Let me clean him first.
Oh, you want to diaper him on TV?
No, that's rude.
We can go on.
That's embarrassing.
He's shameless.
No, he's not. That's you.
Yeah, it's true. So we have one more item to do for you, because even though Robert is asking if I've moved back to Long Island for good, and the answer is no. No, the answer is we're here because my wife Joyce has sabbatical from teaching in Colorado. She's earned it. She's a tenured associate professor over in the university that shall not be named, and has earned the right to take a semester, not quite off. She just doesn't have to teach. She has to do research. Yes. So she's working on that.
Ask him what he's offering.
Yeah, right. But of course, if you can give Robert, do you have a job for me? Because if you have a decent paying job, 60, 70, 80,000, I'm available. And we will move here.
How does the diaper work away pee-pee?
Well, how do you mean? I don't know.
It feels dry where the pee-pee is.
That's the diapers are a wonderful thing. So Joyce, while I'm on camera, one thing is that the camera doesn't go below my nipples here. So she was able to change my diaper.
The dog. Show him the paw prints.
Okay. So here. Okay, it's got paw prints on the diaper, but I'm small enough to fit into this.
No, you're not.
So Joyce is the miracle of diaper technology.
It's a miracle.
He pees, and yet it's dry where the pee is.
I can't believe that.
How is that? How does
that work?
I don't know. It's called wicking. It wicks away, like when you sweat.
Like this is wicking stuff, but
yeah, I don't know. It goes and it keeps you dry. Yeah. It is the miracle of diaper johns.
Yes, the miracle of diaper johns.
What a beautiful, wonderful thing a diaper is. Or as Rabbi Saul would say, diddle. Anywho, okay, so...
Are you going to be on the air till 7 tonight?
Well, it depends. Anywho, so that's the answer, by the way, to Bob, to Robert's question, is no, unless we find something amazing. Either of us find a wonderful job here back east. But no, we just have a temporary reprieve from living in gorgeous Colorado, and are able to be back here.
Where Fred said it's 8 degrees.
Where it's 8 degrees. I'm good. Thanks, man. Well, and we're going to finish the show in about 5-10 more minutes. We've only got one more segment left. Even though I'm here, we're still doing the Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and this is where we.
Oh, is it? You said it's Estes Park.
Estes Park is going to be our Limerick today.
That's a fancy place.
So I've been going through all the towns and cities and provinces.
Will there be bugling?
There may be bugling Elkins when there may not, however. So let's get to our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
Yay.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme.
Wow.
And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Rocky Mountain, Colorado, Colorado.
Speaking of our friend, one of our friends there, Christine Lavin, who was part of that little bitty segue there. But yes, our Colorado Limerick. So it got into my head to write little short, really disgusting, raunchy poems about all the different places in Colorado since we've been living there, and then sharing them with you once a week. Oh, those are so cute. Okay. All right, let me concentrate on the poem here, though.
They're special.
Now, today's limerick is devoted to Estes. I mean, it's really Estes Park, but we're calling it Estes. Estes Park is where you basically get into. It's the hub of Rocky Mountain National Park. They have had 2 terrible floods over there in the past 30 years, but otherwise it's beautiful. They have creatures and rabbits and elk and moose and the occasional bear. It's quite gorgeous there, acres and acres of it. The Stanley Hotel is in Estes Park. And if that rings a bell, does the Stanley Hotel, that is because what film was shot, dear, at the Stanley Hotel?
Red Rum, Red Rum.
Exactly. The, no, not Stanley Kramer, what's his name? Stanley Kubrick. The Shining was shot at the Stanley Hotel, and that is in Estes Park, which is in Colorado, and which I've been to, and which is amazing. So our Colorado Limerick of the Damned is devoted to Estes. Are you ready, dear?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready for poetry?
Yes.
There was a young woman from Estes who wouldn't let men touch her breastus. If they'd even try, she'd look in their eye and kick 'em real hard in the testis. Thank you so much. That is our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, ladies and gentlemen, for this Saturday, February 9th, 2019 in the Daverhood. Speaking of Colorado, our friend Lisa just tuned in for the end of the show.
She's sleeping.
You know, Lisa, if you missed all the giant and wonderful fun that we've had so far.
Ask her how the writing group's going.
Yeah, hey, you guys probably met last week without me. How did that go? Don't tell me now. Tell me later after the show's over. So, yeah, Lisa in Colorado. I got applause and clinked wine glasses from Robert, my old high school friend there, for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
Wow.
Thank you. And if you want to hear back all the old ones, remember that you can go to davesgoneby.com and listen to all our older episodes. There's also a link there to all my writing where you can read all. I mean, I don't do it because it'll spoil the surprise in weeks ahead. But you can. I posted all my limericks of the damned at davelefkowitz.org. davelefkowitz.org. And it's my plays, my one-act plays, a bunch of my writings that I've been putting back out, tons of reviews that I've written of theater, lots and lots of stuff there, davesgoneby.org. Do check that out. And check out this card Joyce found from our friends, Friendy, back in Colorado, who gave this to me for my 55th birthday back on January 23rd. Look how cute.
Oh. Is there one on the back?
Kind of looks at me. He's got my shape now. There's nothing on the back there. I want to listen and read that. Oh, it just says salutations to Joyce of The Voice, because they call us David and Joyce The Voice together. But look at it. Come on. Oh. Not terribly lifelike. Oh, didn't meet potato syllable approval there.
Everyone's a critic.
I know, right? So,
look at this. I put in the one from your mom. Look.
That looks like he's coming out of a window. Here we go. Look. Oh, this is excellent. Here. I'm going to share this with everyone at home. This came from my folks or your folks?
I think your folks.
This was from mom and dad. My mom and dad. Look, he's not.
It looks like a farce.
It's like potato laughing.
It's like a farce.
Ooh, yeah. It's not a tuba. Okay, there's not. Anywho, let's end this. It is the day of gone by 684th episode of the show. So if you missed part of it, like Lisa, if you just tuned in now, or Robert, if you missed the first hour and a half of the show or something like that.
They could have a viewing party.
Go have a. You can either do it on Facebook. You can scroll down and we try and save our videos here, but we also save them and the audio at davesgoneby.com. And we have the episodes, the audio, the archives there, literally thousands of hours at this point of Dave's Gone By madness. It remains for me to, first of all, thank you all for tuning in. Ooh, let me get my final song ready that I'm going to play like 30 seconds of, barely, which is, oh yay. Here we go. Come on, iTunes. Help me out here.
Oh.
Just gotta do that. Wait, okay. Thank you so much to my darling and adorable and wonderful wife, Joyce, who supports me and supports me with noise and with buttons.
I don't know where your clanger
Not
went.
Buttons the dog, but this
Where's
kind of
your
buttons.
clanger went? Your
My-
clanger.
I'm 55 years old. You know exactly where my clanger went. Thank you to my mom and dad for providing this beautiful studio for me to work in and shelter from the storm, as it
Oh,
were.
can you go out like Zabby?
Oh, that's right. Then while the music's playing, I'll do a
Yes,
bit of
go out
Zabby
like
dancing.
Zabby dancing.
We ex-
Dabby.
I'll be dabbing.
Yeah.
So, and thank you to all of you for tuning in as you do every week and for watching the archives and sending me messages, davesgoneby@aol.com, or send them right here on Facebook all week long. I'd love to hear from you. Please tell your friends, please tell your Facebook acquaintances to like us, to follow us on Facebook, also to have us see us first. I don't post a lot on Facebook, so when I do, I think it's kind of cool and important. So if you have see first, it means that it absolutely pops up to the top of your queue of things. Because even if you have followed people on Facebook, it doesn't necessarily mean that they pop up and you see what they're posting. So I think we have a lot more viewers, a lot more friends if people saw us first. And if you went and you say, hey, this is a fun show, this is a cool show, you might like this, tell your friends on Facebook and tell them to check out davesgoneby.com. Anyway, we expect to be back here next Saturday. We also expect a really special guest or 2 or 3 over the weeks ahead. So definitely check our Facebook page and davesgoneby.com for upcoming information on the show. Well, it just remains for me to say thank you for watching and listening. Thank you to my wonderful wife again for all these wonderful years. Thank you to my dog. So should I send our song out to him for Valentine's Day or to you, my dear?
Both.
All right. Well, this is for Oopsie,
everybody you love.
for Joyce, and to mom and dad, and your
Potato.
parents, and potatoes, of course.
And
Let me
family.
make sure dog is on camera. See, if I just kept him on camera the whole show, we have thousands of viewers because he's so cool. Oh, come Oopsie. This is Oopsie. Here he is. Yay. Okay. Well, we'll give him a moment in the sun. Okay. And now let's end the show proper, because the rest of the show is all about me.
Fame.
Here are the Everly Brothers with Love of My Life, which you guys are, and Gone By. Zabby dancing.
Love of my life, come close to me, say you will always be true.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you, hopefully, God willing, next Saturday morning with a new episode of Dave's Gone By. Have a great week. Bundle up, we'll have some snow and cold, but cuddle up if you've got someone. If not, well, you have hands and tissues. And, and Gone By.